Awesome. So, I'm sure that sounds fine.
Yeah.
We've got 50 viewers already, so I mean,
Yeah. How does anyone in the chat want to let me know what the sounds like between me and Mickey? And we're just setting up some terrain now, right? Yeah. Cool.
yeah, we're just setting up terrain. We saw the lists get picked, and George went for his Courtney Penrose list, which probably surprises about 0 people.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a fairly a staple list in the Baratheon diet at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, and the other pick for Brett was for John, and so he's picked up his John list, which with the Double Swarm Brothers, it can really do some good work on these units. But I think he'll struggle killing Rose Knights in one, and we all know, we've seen it before, right? You struggle killing Rose Knights in one. That's the same as saying you struggle killing Rose Knights.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, Gregors456, for the subscription. Very kind of you.
Thank you, Greg.
So yes, so I think we all now know how resilient Rose Knights are if you can't bomb them very quickly.
Yeah.
You kind of end up just relying on them failing morale tests, which isn't a very good thing to rely on. Quality wise, sort of the units in George's list, he's got, well, first of all, he's got a 7 activation list versus so we've got 8 activations on
Either side. Both sides have got 8 technically.
have they?
Have you just briefly blanked out and not managed to count correctly?
No, 1, 2, 3. Oh, for 5. Sorry, yes, I did. Yeah. So we're 8 versus 8, but currently, I mean, yes, we've spoke about how good Swarm Brothers can be, but you're looking at 3 very efficient units on the Baratheon side, and Wardens aren't really to be trifled with either. They've got a good save. They're not amazing when it comes to offense, but they're definitely not poor. And with that inbuilt Warhammer, looking for ones on saves, it sort of takes up their survivability / offense to the next level as well.
I think the big difference here is that the units that we're going to see kill these Wardens are going to be Swarm Brothers, and with Crit Blow Sundering, like 2 of the things that a Warden unit doesn't want to see.
Yeah.
You know, the morale's not brilliant anyway. But the Crit Blow, you obviously more hits in general. But it's the Sundering, you know, it drops them down to that 4+ armor,
Yeah.
which is still good. You know, it's better than going.
I was going to say, yeah. So that's still a 50% chance to save.
Yeah. But it's still not what the Wardens want to see.
No.
Because the Wardens want to see things like, like Free Folk, right? Free Folk run up, hit 6 dice, and go, "Ha! We may have hit with 6 dice," and the Wardens then just go, "Yeah, but we saved
but
like
we
5."
Saved, yeah. But it's that one wound that works, because really all you're trying to do is get people to fail morale tests, aren't you? Especially with the Free Folk, ping 1 or 2 wounds and then pray for a failed morale. But so I think the point that I was trying to make was, I think we've got a lot of there's a lot of offensive capability. All of these units are still hyper defensive at the same time. They've still got better, bar the vets. They've all got better saves than the entirety of the other side. I suppose not including the wolf. But
I don't include the wolf.
Yeah, but Rose Knights are able to kick out damage as well as dealing auto wounds, and we know Stag Knight champions. Champions of the Stags are. If you can get them to where they need to be, they're a wrecking ball as well, aren't they? So
they're a weird one. I mean, I've had my own problems with champions. The main problem for me with champions at the moment is that they achieve what Wardens achieve, but they do it for 10 points rather than 5. And they're better at it than Wardens, don't get me wrong. They are better at what Wardens do.
Yeah.
And they give you a little versatility with the free move. You know, you're not going to get flanked as easily, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they really suffer if they get stuck in these actually prolonged combats. I never thought I'd say this. Not having things like sundering and vicious, those particular two keywords,
Yeah.
um, without those, it's a real struggle because they just, if they're up against anything even remotely armored, like imagine those being up against vets here, right? They'll just never kill each other. Like,
Well, so I think the one thing that you could maybe give them is they've got parry as well, and parry's just auto wounds, doesn't rely on
it
saves.
is, but like we talk about this quite a lot with like the wolves
Yeah.
for free folk and parry in general. Bloody Mama skirmishers have got parry.
Yeah.
That doesn't make them good.
No, no, no. You're right.
um,
You're right. You're
it's
right.
it's just it's a 1 point ability, which we almost certainly call it a 1 point ability in terms of like how much things cost relative to other things without it.
Yeah.
But it rarely puts in much work. And you need weaken tokens, which actually, to be fair to George with Shira, I think Parry might get more out of this game than it would against other players. But that's because of Shira with the free tokens on the letters and now the bags as well.
Yeah. So there's a lot of discussion in the chat at the moment um, about Brett's list choice, going with John instead of with his author list. Can you maybe to give some opinions on that? What do you think?
I mean, I've played against Brett a couple of times. I don't actually think I've ever played against Brett's Night's Watch. Because the only time I've ever played Brett is when I think he played a start game, and then I think he played we did a Targaryen mirror. And so I can't really comment on his necessary ability with these lists because I haven't seen them personally and like suffered from them. But when I stream games with him in, I do know that he understands Night's Watch.
Yeah.
If anything, what's going to throw today's game plan for Brett is not at all the factions. It's going to be the game mode. This is the new version of Here We Stand, and it is really like, we'll see what chat thinks, but this game mode is not what it used to be. I actually think it is a lot worse than what it used to be.
Right.
It doesn't favor those aggressive plays. You're going to see units come back onto the board every turn.
So let's quickly go through Here We Stand for people who don't know what we're talking about. So Here We Stand that got added in. It was originally a beta game mode, wasn't it? And then they added it to the competitive list. So it's an 18-inch deployment on either side. Special rules are terrain may be placed anywhere at least 6 inches from table edges. Another terrain. Divide the battlefield into 4 equal quadrants as shown below. Units are considered to be in the quadrant that the majority of the trays in the case that they are exactly the same that the opponent chooses. A player controls a quadrant if they have at least 5 army points worth of units and more total army points than. So it's basically like domination, isn't it, for table quarters? So you're trying to get more points in each quarter. When an NCU activates as its action, it may be placed on a quadrant of the map instead of claiming the zone on the tactics board. The NCU's army points will be added to the quadrant. Each player may only have 1 NCU in each quadrant. Commanders add 3 points for controlling, and at the start of each round, beginning with the first player, players may redeploy one of their previously destroyed combat units, including attachments, in short range of their deployment or any flank table edge. Units redeploy activated. So, starting with the end of round 2, players score 1 victory point for each quadrant they control.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't fail. I was talking with the players just a second ago, helping them set up, and okay, we see a panic test come out onto the ranger trackers there, which I think is a fail. Yep, for 4 wounds, which is sad for Brett, straight off the bat. But no, so the reason I would talk about the game mode is that it's no longer the aggressive like way that the game used to work, where you control three VPs for opponents' quarters. And that just means that the game is now a lot slower. And I know a couple of people in chat saying it takes much longer. It's a much harder kind of game mode. And even Sunday there giving us a little bit of respect, saying it's expect analysis paralysis. Has he got the bug with the trays? Classic old tray bug. I really wish they'd sort this out.
So let's just say hello to some people that I've got in the chat. So first of all, hello everyone. It's been a long time since you've seen us live. I know Mickey's been manning the ship whilst I've been pretty busy, but as you probably all know, the coronavirus state in the UK has got a lot worse recently. I'm a intensive care nurse, and I've been working loads and loads of extra hours to try and keep the unit staffed because that's pretty hard at the moment. So thankfully, we've had Mickey to keep the stream alive, which has been great. Managed to get a game in with Carlo in person, which was uploaded to YouTube, which got pretty good feedback. But then, of course, we got another big lockdown, Smackdown, and nobody's allowed to visit your house or anything like that anymore. So that's that done for a little while. So, but yeah, it's just good to be back. Good to see some familiar faces. So we've got Lord Commander Bob, Francesco, BR, seen Forioka, who's further up there, Grisalug, Gregaz, who very kindly subscribed to it. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, Chris Tran from Sunday Slaughter, Van's here, Zemnas, Terrashard. So,
All the usuals.
Blood
All
Raven
of the
River.
usuals.
Yes, we've got it's Gang Gang. Hi,
Yeah.
cheers. Yeah. So yeah, good to be back. I'm good. I'm excited to see some competitive play. I've managed to get into some of George's streams just like whilst I'm on my breaks and stuff at work. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing some gameplay live and get to talk about it with people instead of just being bored at work. So what we've got going on, we're seeing some fairly
Yeah, should we actually
yeah,
cast
talk
the
about the
game?
game. Yeah, let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the game. Sorry.
It's all right.
It's
You've had it.
novel,
It's
man.
been a
It's
while.
novel. I know it's novel. It's like weird being back. So who did we have going first?
It was George first for first round. And he's gone like we've seen the NCU board come out. Basically the story of the NCU board was the Ranger trackers took 4 wounds, but then Aemon healed 1.
Mm-hmm.
That was about it. George got the letters for some extra cards, and we saw Eldon come down obviously as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nothing much really going on. We saw counterplot being used on a Horn that Wakes the Sleeper,
Mm-hmm.
which did work, which we did miss. You can see the dice roll of 6 there on the table. But aside from that, it's just going to be some movement up on the board.
Typical first turn. A lot of getting up.
Shuffling.
Was that your dog? God, it
That
sounds
was my
like
dog.
that sounds like an actual dog now. The last time we had any sort of discussion about your dog, it was like an actual puppy.
I know. She's approaching. Can you believe this, Daryl? She's nearly a year old.
Fucking hell. I mean,
I know.
blooming heck.
We were talking about your child earlier, weren't you? Your child's approaching a year old.
Yes.
Remember
Yeah.
that thing?
Yeah. No. Try not to, but yeah. She's 1 and 2 months. Bloody hell. Yeah. So yes, lots of shuffling. Round 1, get stuff up on the board. I think this. I really see this being a tough game for Brett. I know Brett's a very good player. And he knows I know Brett's a very good player, and I know he's very well versed in this army. But what I will say is, it's going to be a bit of an immovable force. Yes, Swarbros can do some work, but it's just going to be a big meat mulcher in the middle, isn't it? And then with potentially some side charges off from the Champions of the Stag.
It's I mean it's a weird one. It's I do think Brett's actually got some real good opportunities, but he has to pray. Like we saw with that ghost move, right? That ghost move. I mean, when I first saw him start moving ghost, I did think he was going to YOLO ghost over the stakes round 1, which would not be a clever idea. Anyone watching, please don't do that. But yeah. So I thought, I think he's setting up for kind of like picking on this warden unit at the end, and I think that's where Brett's strength is going to come into in its own. If he can come in and just kill that unit, he will put himself into a very good stead. He'll go a point up, obviously. It does bring the threat of the wardens coming on the other flank.
Yeah.
But it does just get them out of the way of the game, and Brett can then push into his opponent's quarter and put some pressure on there. The problem is that this is a killy game. This is a game all about killing your opponent nowadays, because the quarters just don't really do much for you. So we'll see.
So, do you think he's looking for a charge there? Because that's so their base movement 5, which would take them down to a 4. And is that hindrance? So that's 2 dice as well? Or is it just
What
rough?
for the bog?
It's
It's
hindering as
-1
well.
movement and
And
hindering. Yeah, yeah.
hindrance, so that would be 2 dice needing a 4 on both. Yikes.
5, 6. Yeah, I mean he'd be looking at like an 8-inch charge or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe even a 9-inch, because he'd hit the Rose Knights first there. So if he's pivoted all the way around, he'd be looking at a 9. He's probably looking at an 8 or 9 charge,
Yeah.
which the movement 4 unit is 5s and 6s on 2 dice.
That's not bad, is it?
No. I've also just noticed we've got a guy in chat called Twitch username generic. Brilliant generic username, love that. That's what I like to see.
It's coming to play against Free Folk. So Francesco, I feel like this game mode makes it fun to play against Free Folk, maybe because when your opponent starts using units, even if they are insignificant, you're still removing points off the table, which makes it easier to score the quadrant. You actually feel like you're being rewarded for killing those raiders. Totally agree with you. However,
Ooh, he's going for the charge. For the +2 move.
So,
He,
so the only thing that I can think of is if he's first next turn, those Rose Knights have already went, and that unit of Wardens has already went. Even if he fails it, I mean, he could lose some to a panic test, yeah, which he doesn't. He gets a 7. He's got a +1 anyways. That'll be fine. Did he just what card did he just use on them?
he's for the watch. The +2 move on that unit. But he rolled a 1.
Yeah.
This, I don't know if I like that charge.
No, I don't at all. I think realistically, I know he was trying to get an extra. He's basically trying to get an extra round of attacks in onto them, but I think one thing that he could have just leveraged is the fact that he's going first next turn and just repositioned them. That's a really good card. So giving them +1 to hit next turn would have been hitting on 2s, and then your crit blow on 6s. That would have been a nice little attack. As Wardens. Yes, so we have Wardens over on the right here. Rose Knights, Wardens, and Champions of the Stag. Then we have Ghost, Swarm Bros, Vets with John, Swarm Bros, and Trackers.
Okay, so I mean, I'm not as versed in these matchups as perhaps with others, but right now, I really feel like Brett is. I feel like Brett is just hanging units out there to be charged.
Yeah,
Like,
yes.
I do not know about this vet move, unless there's something. Unless he wants them to be charged by the Rose Knights, and like we see like Watcher on the Wall or something come out. That's a 2. I think it's more than it's a successful charge. Okay. So yeah, I don't really know why this charge was up. There must be a Watcher play. He must be a Watcher play coming off the back of this.
So we're seeing 6 hits. So 6 on 3 plus.
But the save is. I mean, the save on the vets is. Oh,
So
3
he loses 3, yeah.
I say the save on the vets is all right, but not with a roll like that. 6
Passes his
with
morale. Yeah, he's got
yeah,
away with it. They're 5. What are they? 5 base.
5 base. So he's on a
Yeah.
4, so he was easily in. So he only lost 3 in the end.
He's got a John order as well, hasn't he? So
yeah, so I'm guessing he used the John order there, with the 1 because he rolled a D3 1.
Yeah.
So hence the reason he only actually lost 2. So that wasn't really that bad. The problem is, I think the Rose Knights just win that protracted
Of
combat.
course they do. Yeah.
So I don't really know what the plan was there. It does mean that the champions of the Stag now are going to have a bit of a more free reign. And I'm surprised we didn't see Watcher on the Wall, to be honest. I know Lord Commander Bob was thinking it as well. We didn't see it. There you go. Look at that for some really crafty movement here. He's activating his Ranger trackers, and he's like shifting them across to like slightly
Uh,
infield.
is he within long range of those guys? Why has he not used his free
He
order
can use it at
as
the start
well?
of any. He can use it at the start of any turn.
Ah, okay. I suppose maybe sticking some vulnerable on. Sticking some vulnerable on. I don't think he can do this, can he?
I don't think he'd fit. I don't think it's possible for him to fit.
No.
If he with his free maneuver, if he just positioned here, like right up against the Swarm Brothers, they're 6-inch move, right?
They
So
are,
he
yeah,
could
yeah. So if you march
12-inch
to
march.
12,
He
yeah,
could have got behind John's unit.
yeah,
Like if that's where he was looking to end up, he 100% could have got there.
yeah.
So I
I think
think that
that's what he's doing. Yeah, that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Right. So I think he's obviously just trying to take away some easy options for the champions. But still, what's the champions going to be? It's going to be a 4-inch move directly towards these guys. Yeah, and then what's that charge going to be now?
If they want it, it's an 8.
Yeah, it's going to be a 4. Yeah.
And 50-50 charge. The problem is he's kind of like a 50-50, and if he gets it, it's really good for him.
Yeah, it's mega good.
I would be sorely tempted to take that.
Just
charge.
go for it. Yeah, I don't think he wins the quadrant though because you've still got vets.
Yeah. He doesn't win the quadrant unless he kills the Swarm Brothers, which is unlikely.
Even with killing them, you've still got vets plus your commander plus the trackers there against his 10. Gets it. Gets it.
In.
Yeah.
The I mean they don't score on the first round anyway, so it's a little bit academic. But this, I don't know. This just doesn't feel. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel particularly happy about the situation for Brett. Not the best roll for George, but he's got a couple of 6s.
This guy's re-rolls.
Okay, so what? 6 hits because they hit on
3,
3s, right?
4, 5.
Yeah, they hit on
6,
3s.
7, 8 hits. Because
6
critical
plus
blow.
2 crits.
Yeah.
8 hits. Swarm Brothers probably going to be saving some of them.
No ones, luckily.
5.
But he loses 5.
The ones don't matter.
They do because
they
give weakened. Yeah.
Forgot they have the same thing as the
Wardens,
basically, isn't it?
But the problem is obviously on top of that weekend you've got that's when parry starts to become useful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So, yeah, it's because champs are tankier is the main reason why. That is predominantly why Lord Commander Bob we prefer this charge. Plus, this charge is more aggressive. The vets coming out into this position was risky because he's hanging them out on a limb, whereas now those vets are there. The champions of the stag aren't out on a limb. It's not just about the charge happening. It's about the timing of the charge. I
think what we need to remember is when we were talking about the charge in the flank for Brett, he hadn't played for the watch yet, so we were looking at 2 dice on a 4+ because of the hindering terrain.
2 dice on a 5.
2 dice on a 5+ because of the hindering terrain. On top of that, it was a 7-point unit for a 5-point unit, which not necessarily going to be a huge deal, and not even get him into the opponent's half. Whereas George is now making an incursion the quadrant that Brett controls. He managed to get off a load of damage. They're much tankier than a unit of Swarm Bros, and he did a whacking load of damage. So, I mean,
we saw surprise strategy just come out from George there. He returned counterblock to his hand, and more importantly, Brett now has to activate these Swarm Brothers, and basically it's either an attack or a retreat with no card play. Yeah, the moment it became a 3+ on the charge, Bob, I did think it raised the the options, and it made it a better option. But even then, it's still not great for Brett because of the bog.
Yeah.
The bog. I mean, I always assume with charging over a bog, because it's happened so often, that I'm just going to roll a 1.
Yeah.
In one of the 2 dice.
So we've now got Brett. Had those Sworn Brothers activated?
They had just activated. Yeah, they activated. He passed with them. He chose not to do anything.
Hold on. Was that before the champions had contacted with them?
No, he got charged by the champions, and he activated his Sworn Brothers and didn't do anything. Because he wasn't allowed to. The surprise strategy meant that he couldn't play tactics cards.
Right. Still
a weird play, I know. So
still
what do you do first here?
What's it? 6 dice. 6 dice on 3+ with critical blow sundering. He might be worried about. He might. I think he's probably worried about a counter attack. Yeah.
Yeah. Ours is the Fury or something like that coming out.
Or a counter charge.
Counter charge would have been an option, and there is space for George's unit to slot into that.
Yeah.
In that gap. Like right now, the position suggests that George is on the upper hand. The upper foot.
Personally, I would say he's got a significant advantage.
At least we saw the tracker order get used at the end of the turn to make the champions vulnerable.
Yeah. That's a very good point, Francesco, and that's something that I don't actually know. So Francesco in the chat has basically asked what the tournament rulings are. I'll probably have to speak to Mickey Arcolo about this one. The rule for an NCU going onto a quadrant says instead of going onto a space, choose a quadrant. If there's no spaces left, does that mean that they can't?
With the way that the game currently plays it,
hold on a second. Yeah, just before going any further. So we've seen Brett first turn take 2 extra cards.
Yep.
What token did he put? He put a panic token on some wardens, leaving the free attack up for Courtney to take. So the champions of the stag have taken another free attack at these Swarm Bros.
Yep, he blocked 3 hits. And then he lost 3 wounds from the failed armor saves, but then he passed the morale.
He rolled a D. He's just rolled a D3 in with his other dice.
Yeah, so that was for the morale check there at the end.
Oh, okay.
He rolled a D3 to start with shields around guards around the men, the shield around the men even.
Yeah.
And we see Amon coming out to bags, which is, I mean, this is the Amon bags play, right?
Yeah.
You just fill the unit back up, and it removes the weaken token, and you go, well, that was lols.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I still don't think. I still think that's two activations. 2 activations for the Night's Watch. All Courtney did was take a free attack. The Champions of the Stag have still got their own activation to go, as well as the potential for ours is the Fury.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like it's just bailing water. We had surprise strategy come out last turn. I don't think George has played anything else so far. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8
So
cards
see Corin
in hand.
take horses. I'd be interested to see what he does. The Corin horses play might be a really good Swarm Brothers play he could do here. Yeah, so look.
So
the Corin comes down onto Swarm Brothers, and he can actually retreat. Right? This is we'll see what he chooses to do here, but he can actually position himself in like a really horrible position here for George to actually be able to do anything. Notice the Rose Knights are actually in his front, so the Rose Knights can't even charge John's unit at the moment.
We never got to the conclusion of what we were talking about the NCU, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, the NCUs. Essentially, with the way that NCU activations work at the moment, I'm trying to find the exact ruling on it in the rulebook. But NCUs when they activate, right, it can choose to forgo performing any action at all, to not go onto the tactics board.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, and this is actually eternally the problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it does so when it activates, it can only move onto the empty zone of a tactics board, or forego any action at all.
Right.
Okay. So the question comes into here is, if the tactics board is full, and you have something like a Mel, can she even use her action? Because the tactics board is full, so she must forgo any action.
Mm-hmm.
But generally speaking, the rule is that Mel can still be used. With this in mind, what you add up, basically this scenario adds a third option, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can either take the tactics board, you can either do anything, or you can take a zone on the board.
Yeah.
That's the way we've often played it. That's the way we've often ruled it. Because otherwise you move into the realm of, well, actually, if the NCU tactic board is full, then you can never take. Basically, that third NCU is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is. It's always irrelevant.
But that's how it works when that quadrant thing isn't available. So
Yeah.
I almost see it like what's the isn't the one where you can sack NCU activations for points instead? Is it one of the secret mission
Yep.
ones? Yeah. So it's kind of, you have to. But I don't know. I'm confusing myself here. But I think Francesco's got a point, and I feel like you probably shouldn't be able to go onto a zone if you can't go onto the board somewhere, because it's that risk reward of when are you going to be putting NCUs down? Is there a rush to take certain points? Is there a rush to get into certain zones? And just it basically almost rewards the person for not taking the last zone.
Yes. The problem is with the moment is that there is currently no. My understanding is there's no currently FAQ on it and no ruling on it. And so the real question is it a replace effect? So you think of it like this, right? You either replace an activation with something else, and if it's a replace effect, then you have to have the original thing available to you as well.
Yeah.
And the wording, I agree with everyone in chat, by the way. The wording does suggest it is a replace effect. But if it is a replace effect, then you've got to follow the rules to their other logical conclusion from the other sections, being that they forgo any action, which means that if something like a Mel activates and the board is full, then she cannot use that action of her ability, because it specifically says she has to forgo any action. Unless you start saying her ability is not an action, which is fair enough, but then you end up going, it's a rabbit hole, right?
Yeah.
If it's not a replace and it's an additional thing that you could do instead, so instead of going to the tactics board, you can also do this, which is another terminology in the English language of the use of the word instead. You don't need the first option to be available.
Yeah.
You could just do this instead as an alternative action.
But that's the problem. It should never be left down to interpretation of the English language.
Correct. But the problem is, as an English teacher, both of these words, that word can be used in both scenarios, and context is what matters. The problem is the context is very limited, so it's almost impossible to say which is right or wrong. And yeah, that's the problem I think we've had at the moment. So we've been ruling it, generally speaking, that like in chat, that you can't. It's an instead in the case of you must have the original available at least.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if the game is designed for it to be an alternative action.
Yeah. So we've seen basically the Swan Brothers activated. They ended up getting 8 hits, but George played defensive counter, weakening the Swan Bros and making them lose all their abilities. Made Brett re-roll his dice. He ended up with just 3 hits. He failed 1. And what's the morale on these guys? 5, so he passed on a 5 anyways. And I think actually, and we're seeing ours as a Fury. So loses another wound. It's another 3 down.
Three more down.
Yeah. And actually, I
He's
believe,
managed to
yeah,
delete his D3.
yeah, I believe he should have lost another person for the ones that he rolled because of parry as well.
So interestingly, Spleen has just mentioned that they, the Unsullied captain, the Unsullied officer, has just been worded
That's
with the instead of.
yeah, that's a good point.
You know that the option doesn't have to be there instead.
Mhm.
So you know if we follow that to its logical conclusion, then yes. If you use the same idea of where they say instead of,
Yeah.
then you can do it if there's no open slot. But again, it comes down to the problem where the terminology instead of can mean more than one thing.
Mhm.
It's a very open piece of terminology. So yeah, well done for pointing that out, Spling. Cheers, mate.
All right, that was a good catch. So, we're still seeing a little bit of a ruck here between the Champions of the Stag. I keep on want to call them Lord of Dragonstone for some reason, but that's the attachment, isn't it? And these
Because you're
Swan Brothers over
dreaming and
here.
you really want the Lord of Dragonstone to be out.
Yeah. Soon.
Soon.
Okay, so we're seeing activation from these guys now. That's 6, 7, 8 hits.
3
blocking
blocked.
3, so that goes down to 5.
All saves. 2 more.
2 more. So I suppose we'll go quickly through. I've got a few things at the top screen there. You can see I've got monthly prize draw for sub goals.
I passed.
Pasty's morale, did he? Good, yeah. So monthly prize draw for target amount of subs. So at 20 subs, I'll be doing 2 prize draws for 2 pieces of merchandise, and there is a bit goal on the other side, and the bit goal is for a community choice of the next piece of merch, which will be designed by one of my Taoist friends. It's the same lady that has done all of our current merch, and she also did the Three Seals League logo as well. A very talented lady called Kirsty Brown. So if you want to contribute to either of those, that'd be great. If you want to see what the merchandise looks like, you can see it scrolling along the bottom of the screen there. But it's just www.northernrealms.co.uk/store if you want to see what kind of thing we've got going. Yeah, just check it out.
I'd be wearing mine, but Carlo ordered them as part of his order, and guess what? Lockdown.
Oh god, yeah.
So they've been sat in Carlo's house for the best part of 3 months now.
Oh, what did you get?
Do you even have to ask? Free folk T-shirt, obviously. And I think I got another one. I can't remember. I think I got 2. I think I got the Greyjoy one. I think.
Yeah.
Because the Greyjoy one looks sick.
Yeah. So that was actually done by another typist called Greg, and he has got a very different style, but cool. So we're seeing field. Oh no, that's a pass with those, isn't it? It's a
pass,
that's 5 + 1. Yeah,
with the Weirwood.
Yeah.
You know, he's easy days. He cleared it by 1.
So currently, we're just going to be seeing 2 points apiece for scores if it stays as it is.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me because George can YOLO this unit of Baratheon Wardens through. Interestingly, he might be able to charge the trackers because he might fit into that gap. But even so, he can get into this gap.
That's quite a long. That's quite a long charge for those, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he would have to align 50%. Do you think he could do that?
But he can't. So if he can't align to 50, but there is enough room to fit, he can align at like 75% or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
As long as he goes to 50 or 100 first, and there is enough room for him to fit, it would be fine for the alignment. But yeah. So I mean, that would allow him to put even more points into that quadrant. He doesn't have to worry about his own quadrant there because the Rose Knights are holding that with the 7, with virtually no hope of that changing because the vets have already activated. So yeah, that's probably your best bet here. I mean, what we want or what we need to see is we need to see the Swarm Brother Champions thing turn in Brett's favour. It's not currently in his favour, and I doubt it will swing in his favour.
Mm-hmm.
So those champions will be freed up, and those ranger trackers will be probably tasting some bitter blood in a minute.
Most likely.
But we'll see. Now, this is we saw earlier about this Swarm Brother remaneuver on this flank with the Rose Knights over here. This is really good for two reasons. The Rose Knights can kind of like shore up this flank,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not really doing anything other than offering a counter charge option.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly, George hasn't checked, but I think those Rose Knights will be in the flank of John's unit now, meaning that they can countercharge into John's.
Isn't counter charge only on against the unit who attacked?
Yes, yeah. So
Oh,
John's
so
already
if you
he's already
yeah,
attacked.
yeah, yeah. So he's
But,
not going to be doing it this turn, yeah.
yeah.
But
Um,
it's very unlikely that the Swarm Bros are just going to YOLO charge straight into the front of some Rose Knights, because everybody knows that charging into the front of Rose Knights is a waste of time.
yeah.
Unless you can get them to fail panic tests every turn, which
You
I
just
had.
have to weaken
Yeah,
them a bit beforehand. You'll be fine.
I had a game against a lovely French guy in the first Builder League called TTS.
Oh yeah.
He's a Baratheon player, and I really enjoyed the game. Actually, he's a complete gentleman, but he was really like ill with his rolls, because I think he failed pretty much every panic test on, and even just like at base morale with his Rose Knights, which obviously helped me significantly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be running many Night's Watch lists like that now that they've FAQ'd the order between, the interaction between the the free retreat and the free fire order, being able to pivot between.
Okay. It's all busy. It's all busy going on.
So we've got 10, 30, no. How much are our vets? 8. 8. So we've got 11 there, plus 7 from the Swarm Bros. So we've got 18 points from Brett on that side. And then we've now got, so Ghosts count as 0. Swarm Bros 7, Trackers 6. I've got 13 on that side. Yeah, I think this is just going to be a two score, like 2 points apiece turn, isn't it? I don't think
Yep.
anybody's going to lose a unit just yet. George just edging those wardens up a little bit, and so I think that's the beauty of the Baratheon deck. The counter charge threat always being there is that sometimes you don't have to try and get big charges off. You can position yourself, favorably for a charge that could potentially come off later. Which is what he's doing basically. He's just posturing up against those vets, and if, as good as vets are, if they get surrounded, they're in trouble. So I think I'm just waiting for this Mexican standoff to kick off here, because we've got, the unit of Swarm Brothers, now that those Rose Knights are there, potentially causing bother with the counter charge. Is Brett going to want to try and charge the Rose Knights at the front, which is always a bad idea? Is he going to try and is he just going to move away?
Don't know. He could choose to just YOLO into those wardens with a vulnerable and a panic token on.
But you've got but this is the counter charge that we're talking about. Although if you got all the way over the other side,
yeah, make it a longer charge. I mean, the Rose Knights can still do it.
Yeah,
but
they're on they're what's it, 4 move based, going down to 3.
Down to 3, 2 dice.
2 dice because of the hindering.
But they only have to travel from the center, effectively the center of the warden unit there. So half a base is like 2 and a bit inches long. Call it. And then so it'll probably be auto. It'll be pretty much auto. He might have to roll a 2, but he doesn't control letters. That's not actually a terrible charge to go for, but it doesn't look like Brett's going for it. I think he's just activating and shuffling forward a little bit.
Another fairly low impact round. So how come? I'm just wondering how the Swarm Brothers on this side are weakened again. Is that because of the Warhammer or the Warflail? Because they were weakened because of a card. But then I don't know.
The Swarm Brothers. It will be
The
champions,
yeah.
probably.
Champion's Wrath.
Yeah, they probably rolled a 1 on a defensive save on the second save there. Okay, so we see round 3 begin. It is 2-2, like we expected. And George has currently got, that's right, 1 wound on his entire army. And Brett is currently missing, 2 full ranks, if you're counting up everything, plus more.
Yeah.
We see Courtney coming out onto swords first. Yeah, Courtney goes down onto the vets. Yep, the vets. And he's going to attack with the champions, I bet.
Yeah. It makes sense.
See, this is what the champions want to be in. They want to be stuck in a grind fest with a unit that doesn't actually have that high defensibility. Oh, he's got hold the line. He cannot use hold the line.
Why?
It's when a friendly combat unit activates.
Oh yeah.
So many people get this wrong. You cannot use hold the line. That is a complete and utter misplay and misruling. I don't know whether or not to tell them that.
So yeah. What's the difference? You get +1 to hit and roll +2 dice.
+1 to hit and +2 dice.
So it's a potential of 3 extra hits. 4. That's nearly enough to wipe the unit. If he fails this. Nope.
Nah, he's good.
So we're likely going to see an aiming onto the money bags. Get rid of that weekend. Should it not have been an extra model? So it's restore 1 wound +1 for each destroyed rank. So that would be 3 +3 for the base. Oh, that's sorry, he did. He got 6 back.
Yep.
He was just down to 1, wasn't he? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, right. So that was the
that was a free attack from Courtney.
Yeah.
And then we got aiming onto the bags, healed up the Swarm Brothers from 1 to 7. We've now got Shira onto the so she should have removed a is Shira the one? Oh no, that's she the one that heals.
Yeah, she can.
Oh, yeah,
she can remove a token. So you saw the vulnerable come off. The
wardens. The vulnerable came off the wardens, and they put down a. They didn't put a. Oh, they put a vulnerable down on the vets.
Ooh. Panic test. Coming out. That's 3 wounds. 2. Was it the wardens?
Looks like
3 wounds to the wardens. Eldon take horses. What's he going to do? He's just going to draw cards.
Draw cards, yeah. He's just filling his fist, isn't he? He's got you'll have a strong grip with a ton of effective cards, and I think in this like protracted engagement where he's going to want things like counter charge and Hours of the Fury, and I mean even Last Stand when they do eventually get at the point of units being lost. So we're seeing a counter plot.
Second counter plot coming
onto
out.
The Hornet with Sweeper.
Yep. Rip. keeping the Night's Watch card draw low with the counterplots here this game, which is very strong.
I wonder who he learned that from.
I know, right? I wonder who. Okay. So let's have a look. I haven't looked at chat for a while. I've been completely neglecting chat, which is not like me at all. You know, I'm usually in the chat memeing away. Yeah, I agree. Uphill battle for Brett, Francesco.
Hugely.
The main problem for Brett right now is he's caught in his own half. Like, this is the kind of like the new problem with the game mode. You can either play really standoffish, and it becomes like the Fire and Blood. I think is it Lord Commander Bob's least favorite style of playing Fire and Blood, where you just sit in the corner and go, well, that's the game.
Yeah.
Or you've got the kind of like you can just YOLO it across the field, and to be honest, it's almost not that risky. The thing, I mean, look at what George has done. He's just advanced as a big metal wall and gone, right, come on, fight me.
Yeah, let's go. Let's see what you've got.
So, yeah. Pass panic checks. I mean, Brett's passing all his panic checks this game at least. So that's always a positive. For him anyway.
So interestingly, I think although he's getting that sort of that bit of defensive, a slightly better defensive ability in this list compared to his other list. I think realistically having that ranged threat from the crossbows would have definitely put him in better stead.
Yeah.
Just being able to plink away at stuff with decent range off those cards, and so like you've got built-in Sunder, and you can do really good work to units like these, and conscripts are meant to just be there and be a pain in the backside, aren't they? So looking at Courtney Penrose's card here. We're seeing a retreat.
Yeah, retreat. This isn't a terrible idea.
No.
What he wants to do is he wants to make sure he retreats to put the Wardens and the Rose Knights into his front arc. He needs to go a little bit further back. Or he might be just on the edge now.
Yeah.
I think they're just into his front arc. If you're ever wondering, by the way, literally check the...
Yeah, that's front arc.
Yes. Try to make sure you check the front, the flag. The flag will always tell you where the 50% mark is. If the flag is on one side of the line, it means it's 50% that side. If it's the other side, it must be 50% the other side. Because by definition, the line doesn't change, the angle of the unit doesn't change. It's wherever the flag is will tell you the 50% mark. Because the nice and uniform shapes that we deal with. So he's retreating there. I think they're just talking about what he's looking to achieve.
Yeah. So he's denying a side charge here with these Sohn brothers. He wouldn't be able to fit the unit 50% on. In both of these units are the front, so realistically the only unit that you can charge with at the front initially would be the Rose Knights. You would then have to move them over to the far right hand side to get the Wardens in.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair to Brett, this is the third turn now, and other than obviously they've been a bit of a nuisance. That 10-point unit of Champions of the Stag hasn't really done a great deal. That doesn't fit, does it?
50%. No, he hasn't got the 50%. He's currently over the line with his unit, so he cannot align 50% or 100%. So he can go between the two.
Yeah.
He can go between the two.
But it means that he can't fit both units in.
Yeah, can't have both units in.
And can you go anywhere between the two, or do you have to go as much to?
I think you're meant to go to as close to 100 or 50% as you want.
Yeah.
So it's up to him which side he goes closest to, I think. Like, it's not really clear. but as long as he goes as close to as he possibly can to one of those two things, I think it's fine. Ooh. Is that
7 hits?
7 hits? It's pretty good. But the vet's probably going to save, what, 5 of these probably statistically? Yeah, 5.
5, yeah.
Big dick.
They are vulnerable though, they are vulnerable.
They are vulnerable. He chose not to re-roll them, by the looks of it. And they've easily passed the morale. So they lose 2, then gain back D3 for John's order. 1. So they lose a net of 1 that whole time.
Interesting that he didn't take that vulnerable though. Very interesting.
Wanting it for the flank charge or something. Fireburns, cancel the effect of the token. So I think George was just mentioning there, I'll play the vulnerable, and he's like, nah, I'll play that. Which is fair enough. He might have just said he's got it in hand and then played it afterwards, which is down to the players ultimately.
Yeah, of course. And although this is competitive play, that I always believe there's a required degree of sportsmanship in games like this. And that's the kind of thing that realistically that I like to see. People being realistic about a game instead of trying to maybe maximize stuff. I know when there's prizes on the table and things like that, it's a bit, there's reasons for people to be a bit stringent with the rules, but I suppose, like you say, it's down to player, isn't it?
Anyone watching? And one of the main talking points of this game so far has been the champions of the stag. Can we just point out that because Brett has not failed that many morale checks with that Sworn Brother unit,
he hasn't failed any.
It's a 10-point unit fighting a 7-point unit.
This is what I was saying before. That just to be fair to Brett,
doesn't really care.
Yeah, he's now essentially wasting that unit because
this is why champions of the stag, although they look good on paper, they're just not that strong.
They're meant to be a hammer, aren't they? Not an anvil. And those protracted. I think if this was any other faction though, and they didn't have the six-man heal bombs every turn, it might have been different. But
sure, but then this is also an army that doesn't have auto wounds.
Yeah,
basically. Yeah. So those, against free folk, you run into the problem is champions of the stag run into a unit of free folk raiders, and the odds of them one-shotting them are not actually that high.
Yeah.
And it sounds ridiculous, and it's like, I'm like, well, you can't just say about one-shotting a unit is important or not.
Yeah.
But if a 10-point unit is not one-shotting a 3-point unit, then rip. That's all I would say.
But they're not designed 100% for offense, are they?
No, of course they're not.
They're like a hybrid unit, yeah.
Yeah, defensive unit. But the problem is they get bogged down, and we're seeing it in this game. They get bogged down on a unit. It doesn't really want to have to fight, and he doesn't Brett's. You see him again. Brett's just activating the Sworn Brothers this game again, and just not even attacking. He just doesn't need to roll any dice. You just don't risk the auto wounds. Just play it safe.
So are we seeing? Yeah. So you can't fit your base across there. Basically, is the long and short of it.
Ghost could. He could YOLO across the palisades or the stake and take D3 +1 auto wounds.
He could also just use his free maneuver to walk it and attack it, but
he could. Yeah.
Which I'm presuming he's doing. Yeah, looks like that's what he's doing.
This is going to be a huge attack here. Ready? Boom. One hit. He one hit those stakes.
He just barked at it. Grass type Pokemon. Use what's it? Leaf Slash. So activations left. We have a unit of Rose Knights here, and they're still continuing this Mexican standoff of who's going to go in first. I think that should have been Ghost's activation. He hasn't tagged his activation on the tray yet, but I think that was the activation. It looks like we're going to go for a charge yet. Yeah. So I think it's just 101. Yeah. I think it was a 2-on-2 dice.
Some big dick rolls coming out there.
Yeah, man.
We're waiting on it. We're waiting on a call there, Ariakas, from Carlo, who's just got back from his walk. Hence the reason he's not here today. He went for a stroll in the countryside because that's about as the only legal thing you can do outside the house right now.
Yeah.
As long as he didn't stroll within about 4 yards of another human being, it's legal. Oh wow, that is a lot of threes, and threes are not saves.
They are not.
So that's a big rip unit. I don't think he can die. No, panicked. Brett's Panic's still on top form.
Yes, yeah.
But it's still, I think 5 or 6 dead. Yeah, 6 dead.
So that's knocking them down from 8 dice to 6, I believe, is it?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Yeah, down to 6. That's still not a terrible attack profile, especially considering the critical blow in Sunderland. But really, he's now in this, what is going to be another protracted face-to-face combat where he's probably going to, more often than not, choose to not attack, because every time they take a morale test and pass it, they're doing auto wounds, and it's them having 1 or 2 wounds missing is probably more dangerous than them having no wounds missing.
Correct. And the thing is, these Swarm Brothers are not going to kill these Rose Knights. I mean, it's statistically possible. If we look at the outcomes, it's possible. It's statistically unlikely, however.
Yeah.
So is Brett gonna do? He's gonna do what we thought. He's gonna do thorough retreat. The problem with all this retreating, the problem with all this kind of like shenanigans and moving around, is it's drawing the game out to be longer, which is fine. But all this is really doing is pushing the pressure back to Brett's side.
Brett, yeah. Because inevitably, regardless of however slow it happens, George is going to get the first kill, and once that kill's been made, the onus is entirely on Brett to catch up.
Yes. Now the difference is Brett can, and this is where Ghost is actually proving to be a little bit pointless right now. Ghost is worth 0 points, remember. So if he's in a zone, he doesn't do anything for that zone. Like, it's not actually that useful. And there are no 5-point NCUs in this game, meaning that no NCU can just auto-claim a zone.
Yeah.
This straight away means that, George hasn't got that much of a threat about coming forward. The only thing is that if he kills a unit, it'll spawn behind him and they'll in the next round.
Yeah.
But that's not a big deal because he scored a VP for killing it, and he's probably scored a VP for owning more units in that quadrant anyway.
In which one? So it's not more units, it's total points?
Yeah, well, total points is what I meant.
So in which quadrant?
In the quadrant he kills a unit in.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So at the moment, though, I think one of the things that is going to mess George, I think, actually, no.
As things stand right now,
Brett still owns this one.
Brett still owns this left corner. Because he's got 5-point Warden, 7-point Rose Knight, and a Swarm Brother Ranger Tracker unit is more expensive.
Yeah, but he still owns the other one as well. So there's 10 plus 5. That's 15. The Rose Knights don't count because they're not majority in that one. If they're a majority anyway, it's the bottom left.
Yeah, this quadrant here, I'd suggest there'd be majority in. Yeah, so the problem is George still owns the back left. So even if these Wardens, I think those Wardens are on the line, which I think means Brett can choose as the opponent.
Brett can choose.
So in which case it pushes them into the other unit.
But regardless of, Brett, no matter what Brett chooses, it's still going to be 2 zones each.
Yeah.
So I think I would understand if he was willing to concede a unit death with the view to quickly recouping that by with a counter attack from somewhere, or with a view to bring a unit on and try and march that unit on somewhere else and get some points from that. But I'm struggling to see how that's going to happen.
So We'll see. We'll
This
see
was
how
this
this
was
game.
George. This was George first this round, wasn't it? Turn 3, George
Yes, it was.
first.
Yeah.
So we need to see basically what.
You won't have seen all the new things that Bartender's implemented, will you? Actually.
I have not. No, I'm quite
Oh.
interested by the fact that when you switch the
Round marker.
round marker, everything resets. That's really cool.
That only works for stuff that has been brought in for the A Song of Ice and Fire builder, or anything that is already in the mod in the baskets
Right.
at the side of the map. So it doesn't work on any other imported lists or saved objects. So, moral of the story: use the Song of Ice and Fire stats builder and import that way because it's automated, or just build your lists in the actual game.
Yeah.
Import building it, saving it as an object, and then loading that object up later on will mean it doesn't interact with it in the same way. So just be aware of that. But yeah, it's been putting a lot of effort in.
So we're going to see the trackers take a shot. I'm wondering if it's going to take a warden. It's going to have to be the wardens, isn't it?
Only one in range. This is legit fine because it's a low risk play. Nothing's going to happen. Ooh, 6 hits.
6 hits.
Now no vulnerable.
Now you see, if this is an Othel list, then you're given those Crypt Blow or Sunderin or something like that. Then you could be really. Oh dear me!
5 dead. There is a chance.
And
the panic
yes,
they're
panicked as well.
This is an absolute play from Brett if this works.
Well, I tell you what, it's not an absolute play. It's the stars aligning. So you just need to spend that panic.
He can spend the panic token to make him reroll the 2 to a 3.
Yeah.
That's a what? This is a 2 in 6 or 1 in 3 chance. 1 in 3 chance to just kill a unit.
Oh.
No. But
next
got
turn,
Ghost on the flank.
Next turn, Ghost can take first action.
This is actually huge because Ghost killing it on the start of the next turn means that Warden unit is out for the rest of. Well, he's already gone this round and be out of all of the next round because he can't be brought in until the start of a round. Start of a round to bring him back in. So, the first thing I would do as Brett, forgo the tactics board.
Yeah, just get that charge.
Just kill the unit. Just kill the unit, get the victory point, go a victory point up, and Ghost is just YOLOing around somewhere in the back line. You don't even care. He could try and do a panic bomb on them to try and kill them that way. I think that's risky.
I think one of the other things that we need to remember is there's probably a last stand in there somewhere, which means that Ghost will probably get squashed straight afterwards. So, I mean, I might be inclined to maybe take a range shot at them instead.
The players have just said they're taking a quick break. I did speak to them before the game, and Brett's looking after a kid today. So
okay, yeah, no problem. So we can
gives us plenty of time to talk about the game and also talk about merch.
Let's talk about merch. Let's talk about merch, baby. I'll do some sort of cool. Look at my browser. Plug. Actually, Scott. So I'm going to make sure everyone is abusive towards you purely for the fact that I tried. Show the parents. I made it for you. Mate, if you were here at the start of the stream, you would have seen. In fact, I'll switch to it now because we're waiting. I had a constantly running
background thing.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I don't know if I don't know what the correct word for it is. Let's see if
just bear in mind, guys, all you guys watching the stream now, we're at complete mercy of Daryl, and Daryl is ultimate dad with technology right now.
Yeah.
So this is probably going to go wrong.
So hold on. Yeah. So I made this. But unfortunately, Scott gave us the wrong slideshow. So it says the stream's starting at 8:30 GMT +1, not at 3. But I'm probably going to slow it down a little bit. It's a little bit fast. And I just want, Scott, a plain splash screen saying starting soon. That is what I asked you for, you lazy twat. So if you do that for us, then I can have that running and people can know. Yeah, it works tomorrow. Yeah, it'll work tomorrow. Okay. Yes.
We have had a request to show the bracket, not in chat, but I've had a personal message, and I don't want to let my adoring fans down. Adoring fans, shout out to Stannis.
Yeah. Is it Stannis 1000 Soul Commander?
Yeah, you
10,000. Yeah.
remember that guy?
Yes. Yeah. Cool
He's
guy.
pretty bad at somewhere some fast. So
He's cool guy though. Cool guy.
yeah, he is. Yeah.
So this is the demographics though. Yeah. So it's actually just like a free thing on YouTube that you have to just mess around with a load of filters on. It's cool. Right side, strong side. Can't read Shishkar. Well, you know what, Scott? That means that you're gonna have to make the font bigger and yeah. Do you want us to just put the hold on? I'll just change the. I'm just gonna have to get rid of the MCP builder one.
Spleen say yeah. Spleen saying right side, strong side. I think he's only saying that because Khan Artist is in that group, and Spleen's going to lose to Khan Artist in the first round. Ooh, calling it. Spleen's just trying to put out an excuse. No, I reckon that's going to be a good game actually. It's Stark Baratheon becoming a classic.
Transform, fit the screen, transition. There you go. There you go. Yeah, so here are the brackets, and I'll let you look at those whilst I'm setting up a really cool thing so that you can all see the merch as well.
Interesting fact: the obviously we know that 8 of the 16 players brought Starks. We can see 2 Stark mirrors in the top there, including an Ariakas Larks matchup, which is becoming somewhat of a classic on the TTS scene. Ariakas and Larks, 2 very good Stark players, and I believe in tournaments they are currently 1-1, with Ariakas beating Larks in the semi-final of the NRG, and I believe Larks beat Ariakas in one of the other tournaments. I think it might have been the Malta tournament, the Gold on Dice, but I might be wrong. So how fitting to have those 2 matching up yet again. 2 brilliant players, 2 lovely players as well. Ariakas here in chat today.
All right.
Absolutely, no, they are. They're absolutely lovely guys to play against and play with.
I believe yes.
So,
I've dealt with Ariakas in the past, and a lovely guy. Actually, Gruce has just popped up in there. I had a game against Gruselug as well. He's a total gent. So definitely,
Bruce,
he is, man.
Bruce is the worst person in the community.
No, the worst person in the community. The worst 2 people in the community are you and Carlo, man.
That's actually true. Yeah, we are. Bruce is the close third then.
Yeah. So,
right,
everyone's seen the parents now, so we're going to transition over to something really cool, which is the Northern Realms Game merch store, which is northernrealms.co.uk/store. So, as you can see, we have. Oh,
the game has started back up again.
Oh, come on. Right, okay, yeah, we'll do it later.
But
let's go.
Check out the store.
Let's go.
Right, we have had an official ruling from
Is that from A Song of Ice and Fire? That's Carlo.
It is the old Carlo. He's saying that if the tactics board is full, you cannot claim a zone on the board, which is ruling, which is fair enough.
That's what the TO says, man. Okay, so we've reset turn 4, and so my instinct is, like I say, is definitely for the he took the money back. What the hell, man? Explain to me what's going on. Pass. Two, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I don't actually know where this attack's coming from. I'm presuming it's from the champions.
Right.
Is it not the champions?
Might be from the champions. Pass
Pass. Yeah. So where did the heal go for Bone?
The heel went onto the Bowen heel went onto the Sworn Brothers, and then Bowen obviously picked up the cards because they were on 3. They were on 5 models before, and they've just lost 4 from that attack.
Hmm.
Oh, he forgot to play Baratheon Conviction, so he played Baratheon Conviction and put it on that one Warden.
Mm-hmm.
Strong card. I hate that card beyond belief.
Yeah. So his Ghost isn't one. His Ghost card isn't doesn't allow saves, is it?
No.
That's 2 dice under.
What is that for Ghost? Yeah, I mean Ghosts. It's not tactics cards. Not the no saves. So Ghost not charging into the Wardens is probably not terrible.
Yeah, exactly. But I just don't understand why. Like, fair enough. He didn't want to lose his. He didn't want to lose his Sworn Brothers, did he? But I just feel like taking the free attack with and using these ranger trackers might have been a better idea.
Yeah. Maybe. We'll see.
I don't think Brett's failed a panic test yet, has he?
Don't think so. Man's a hero and unit's dead. Oh no.
No, he's healing.
Oh, he got the heal back up from Courtney. Yeah, it's targeted with the crowns of Courtney's ability, so it healed the unit of Wardens. So that window,
So hold on.
to kill the Wardens is now a lot.
Yeah, so Courtney's on
The Swarm Brothers, and
Yeah.
when the enemy unit gets targeted by a tactic zone, so Shira then crowns targeted the Swarm Brothers, that activates Courtney's ability, so he can heal D3 to a unit within long range.
Mhm.
And it means it heals the Wardens up.
He's trying to get into the flank here, isn't he? Which I'm not entirely sure he can do.
Yeah, I don't think he can get into the flank.
Nah, that was
not with the maneuver.
So tell us I'm wrong, but that was a huge misplay.
I personally think that Ghost should have gone in. I mean, it did mean. I mean, the chances are he hits 2. He's unlikely that he fails both 2 pluses. Potentially with a reroll as well. It require 3 ones in a row. But it would mean 2 rolls on a 4+. With no rerolls, he could have made them vulnerable from the tracker's order as well.
Mm-hmm.
To get a certainty, almost like. In fact, they are even vulnerable now because
he's used the tracker order. Yeah.
So I would have done that definitely. It would have been a dead unit. Like, what is it? What's the chance of failing the 3 ones? You have to roll a 1 for the disorderly, and then 2 ones on the charge. That's the best odds for failing, like the most hits. And so you're talking like 1 in 216 to get no misses, or to get no hits, which we've seen, to be fair. And then you've got like a 1 in, where it's a 50% chance to save each roll.
Terra,
So,
I seriously hope they're good. Yeah, I'm listening.
25% chance with the vulnerable. It's like a 12% chance plus like
So
a
we've
little
got
bit.
6 hits. So we've got 6 hits. We need to see 3. So, but the problem is he needs to fail. Nah, not even close.
He's got Sundering. Got 1. Oh no. Vulnerable. Yeah, it's just 1 wound.
He hasn't got Sundering?
No, he doesn't have
With
Sundering,
the
but it is
bow,
the
yeah.
1 wound because of the 2. So it's still coming out. It's still a panic test. This just feels like he used an activation to do what the wolf could have done first thing.
Yeah. Or just use the free attack. Yeah.
Fast.
Oh my god, why did you do that? Then again, I mean, how many did Brett lose to the... How many Swarm Bros did Brett lose to the Champions of the Stag? Did he lose?
So,
he lost 3. I think he lost 3.
Well, the net he actually lost 4, but then Aemon healed back up. So I mean, that Champions of the Stag fight over there is about as thrilling as watching paint dry. Like the champions don't lose any wounds, and the Swarm Brothers keep going low and then coming back up because of Aemon. I mean, Brett. To be fair to Brett, he's playing that flank with the Swarm Brothers champions. He's playing that completely correctly. So, yeah, that's like kudos to Brett there. But but it's on this flank. Oh, it's so sad that he just didn't kill the wardens.
So he's going to, I mean, realistically.
You got to activate the wardens. You can try and do something with the maneuver zone here. Position in front of Ghost. Mean that Ghost can't get around the flank. That would be a strong play. Oh no, instead he's going to threaten with the Rose Knights. Okay, so that's fair enough. He sees that the Warden unit is dead, and now he's basically putting value on either killing John's unit in the middle or the Sworn Brothers. Either or of these kills is a good recompense for losing the Wardens.
Yeah, he's just going to go for the flank charge, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is, he's now going to potentially take a counter. A last stand. I suppose there's worse units to lose to last stand. So still a point, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he's no longer vulnerable.
The thing is, actually, that charge from Ghost now into the flank of those Wardens.
Oh, and it's his thing beat it.
Yeah, this is exactly what I thought. Like, this charge would have been this is now actually unlikely to kill the Wardens.
Mm-hmm.
Statistically, he should not kill the Wardens.
If he's got ours as the Fury as well, the attack has weakened as well,
and it loses all abilities.
All the abilities.
Interesting.
So hold on. When this attack is selected, yeah.
And activated for any community is attacked with melee.
So you can't play that. You can't play that because of Ghost ability. When this attack is selected, enemies may not play tactics cards for the rest of the turn.
Huh. It only loses all abilities as well, and the reroll, the charge thing is not an ability.
Yeah, but it's weakened. It gives weakened. So not only would he be disorderly, he'd be weakened. No, thanks very much, Loki Bry, for the follow. Right, folks, some of you have got to have Amazon Prime, and as you know, if you've got Amazon Prime, you've got Twitch Prime for free, and Twitch Prime is a free subscription that you can give to us. It helps support us through the streaming of this tournament, which is hopefully going to be really good content for you guys. Seeing some of the
saves.
Man,
I knew this would happen.
Yeah, like I just feel, man, it's horrible. You know, it's horrible when you've got this top-down view and you're not in the game, and you know you're discussing it with someone else. But it just this whole series of events just seems like it. He's, you know, don't get us wrong. Brett's a very experienced player and probably knows that he's forgotten more about the game than I know. But it just seems like this, from what had become a really strong potential, it's potential for a bit of a comeback. It's now just went the complete other way. Yikes.
And we see where did those heals come out from?
Over here.
Resilience.
Yeah, he played a Stag's Resilience.
Yeah.
So we'll see a save on Ghost.
Yep. It's outside of long range of the Swarm Brothers. Don't know why he's checking that. Okay. Yeah, so Ariakas brings up a very good point that Courtney's influence next turn is going to be absolutely huge.
Yeah.
So 100%, I think you will see Courtney come out onto Moneybags, Moneybags healing up the Wardens,
Mm-hmm.
Courtney coming down onto whatever he wants. It doesn't really matter that
Mm-hmm.
much.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the Swarm Brothers, because if the Swarm Brothers get into melee, it closes down the swords option.
I think this unit of Swarm Brothers as well would be a good shout because they're potentially going to be in a pretty nasty combat as well.
Yeah.
The tides definitely started to.
There was an option. There was an opening.
Yeah, there was. Unfortunately, I don't think it was maximised.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Brett's got a big hand of cards here, so there's always potential for something to happen. At the moment, though, to me, I think realistically, all of the options that he has are subpar, to say the least. You know, attacking the Rose Knights is just going to make them better. Attacking the Stag Knight, the Champions of the Stag, is potentially doing wounds to yourself because you've got a weakened token there. It's
Interesting fact, by the way.
What's that?
With the way the units currently are positioned on the board,
Mm-hmm.
those Wardens, Brett can choose to have them in his area.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that there's a 5-point unit of Wardens and a 7-point unit of Rose Knights gets outranked by the Swarm Brothers ranged trackers. So if the game was to end right now, like or the turn was to end right now,
Mm-hmm.
Brett would actually score 2 points, I think.
So you'd score 3.
No, just 2.
No, because Ghost's in. Oh no,
Ghost
it has
is worth
0.
0
Yeah.
points, not over the 5-point
No,
threshold.
but he could put. Oh, but so we ruled
No,
it that you can't put Corn down.
Can't put Amon in the corner, and even then Amon's only 4, so it wouldn't be enough to take it over the 5-point threshold. And more importantly, it would mean that Brett goes 2 points, so go up to 6, and George only goes up to 5. So having that separation of 1 victory point in this game mode, in this game that we see right now, will be huge. So actually, Brett's best option here is to get those Swarm Brothers out of dodge. Just get them away from the Rose Knights. He doesn't have to care too. I mean, it's unlikely that the veterans will die, I'd have thought.
Yeah.
Mind you, from 2 attacks, they might do.
Yeah, I think.
Talking about
potentially putting the trackers on Courtney. Yeah.
The issue with trackering the or lettering the trackers is the trackers, I think, are aiming to get around into George's backlines. They have no intention necessarily on the next round of doing much in terms of damage. But he could even activate them early and move around into the flank and shoot the Wardens and probably kill them off. Oh! This shield that guards the realm of men for the D3 has been huge. So there's another 3 blocks, another 2. So there's only 2 wounds, which means he cannot die from the panic. This is Swarm Brothers holding up against the unit champions of Stag, and they pass them around. So 2 deaths. Oh man. This unit of Swarm Brothers just does not care right now. We also bring up an interesting point here. Brett has Corrin.
Ah, yes, he does.
Brett can sacrifice Corrin at any time and rip that unit he sacrifices on to actually activate. That would be huge on the last turn for Brett. He can do, on turn 6, he can do that relatively scot-free to enable him to position in a good place where George can't really do anything about it. Now, interestingly, about Corrin, and the reason that Corrin's so useful against Baratheons in particular, is it means they can't take any actions. It's not they just can't activate, they can't take any actions. Which means you can play Ours as a Fury on them, but they're not allowed to attack.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to countercharge. They're not even allowed to last stand.
Yeah, because it's in the turn, isn't it?
Yeah. They're all actions that you take. Melee action, melee attack action. So
Oh,
Corrin
sorry,
really shuts
and
down.
Corin's for the round, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Corrin really shuts down Baratheons, and to be honest, it makes a Baratheon man
So
really
we're
sad.
seeing a counterplot, the third counterplot.
He got one back from surprise strategy earlier in the round
Ah.
and the game. So see counterbot coming out onto Watcher on the Wall, and he's gonna roll. No, it
I think he
passed.
passed.
It.
Yeah.
He passed it. Big man. We've got 41 viewers.
So
I mean, I'm one of them, so
37 for me, but
37 for you.
yeah, says on my screen 37.
Maybe less people like watching you, and more people like tuning into me watching the stream. I don't know how that works.
I like the fact that we've got someone called Thicker. Hello, Thicker.
His name is Thicker in the chat. That's great. It's a great name. I wonder what he's thicker than.
I'm not sure. I want to know.
No.
No, I'm, and especially because it's spelled the THICC. I'm not entirely sure that's an avenue that I want to explore.
Yeah.
Skipping a turn with scoring.
Yep.
Bowl of oatmeal, thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. Mate, it's porridge. You're not American. It's funny, isn't it? Because in America, like thick's used as a defining term for somebody that's got like a bit of, you know, like a bit of a big booty. But here it just means that you're stupid. Scott, do I want to click on this link? To an undercover cop as well. Actually, I encourage everyone to look at that link. That's hilarious. Sorry. So, has any decisions been made about what's happening? We've still got Swarm Bros to go, but they're weakened, and he doesn't want to lose. Wounds to what's it called? Count parry. Do you think he's just going to try and run this unit of Swarm Brothers away?
I think he should. I mean, he wanted to Watcher on the Wall to do that, I think.
Yeah.
So he probably should just activate and do it now. Was that the charge into?
Yeah.
Yeah, charge to the Swarm Brothers. Okay. It is disorderly though because of the 2 that was rolled, meaning that this is just. Yeah, okay, 5 hits, 6 hits. Can't count. 6 hits. This can kill the brothers. With 6 hits, he needs to save more than 1, ideally.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to the failed morale, pass morale. He's probably
Is he within 6? Yeah.
I thought so. The corpse bar's just here.
Would be on a 5.
Yeah, so he'll be on a 5+. This would be where Brett fails. He might actually be outside 6 here. See where they measure it. They are outside 6.
So it's 6. Well, he's passed so he's due to fail 1, isn't he? Nope, never mind. Never mind.
Big man. That is a big 12 when he needed one. So that's the unit Swarm Brothers with 1 health left.
Which is going to be fairly nasty considering that the auto wounds are so.
Stand United Brothers. So one other unit within long range may restore D3 +1 wounds. So 3 wounds back to another unit. So he's 3 units back to the Swarm Brothers. Remember when they were down to like 4 men? So this comes back to a discussion we had earlier. Right now, George is at risk of going a point down because he scores none from his back left quadrant. Brett can force the wardens to be in this one. In fact,
Why
actually, I
does
think
he
the
score
flag is
none
on the
from
right.
his back left?
So, or it might be back right to you. George's right hand side.
Yeah,
Brett,
yeah. So he will score another because
because the wardens are actually technically the flag is over the line, but if you assume it's 50%, then the
Brett
wardens
gets
can
to
be counted
choose,
as
doesn't
being
it?
in the front.
But that's only that's only if it's a draw, and it's currently not a draw.
It currently is. It's 4-4.
No, so the draw for the amount of points in a quadrant.
Yeah, so units are considered to be in a quadrant the majority of their tray is in. In the case they're exactly the same, the opponent chooses.
Ah,
So
right.
if he can choose the wardens to be in Brett's quarter, and then it's the Rose Knights, that means that Brett outnumbers him in that quarter, so Brett wins that quadrant.
I
That's
mean,
1 point.
to be honest with you, if you look at the tray, he's definitely into that quadrant. Anyways, he's not in
Yeah.
his own.
But even so, it's a point for Brett.
Yeah.
It's not a, and George doesn't score anything from that side of the board. You look at the other side of the board, it's depending on how George plays this, he could of course bring the wardens forward, and it would push 15 points into this area, which is the same as the veterans. Actually, no, because of Jon Snow, the extra 3 points from
Yeah.
the commander.
Yeah. So that's 18 points between those
Yeah.
two. Yeah.
Now, Brett needs to be careful here. So if he withdraws, he needs to make sure he withdraws to still be in the quadrant. No, don't do that, Brett. That's literally the mistake. You lose the game if you make that mistake. That's actually game losing in terms of victory points.
Yeah, because they're going to die fairly soon. Yeah, thank God for that. Other side.
You just could go backwards, or you could go to the other side. Like if he goes towards John, that unit I think dies anyway from anything that looks at it funny. To be honest,
Has he not? Has he not got the last? No, what's it called? You know, the card where they don't die.
Yes, now his watch has ended.
Now his watch has
Right?
ended. Yeah.
Is that the one?
The one where they do the panic test and stay on one wound.
Yes. Yeah. So he could go the other way and like choose to do that, but staying in this quadrant for this turn is what's more important.
Mm-hmm.
Like being a 7-point unit in that quadrant is all that matters.
I think
for Brett this
just
turn.
rolling a big retreat and ending up in the back corner over here would be better.
He chooses not to go for the retreat, interestingly. Yeah, sorry, Yorick. It shall not end until my death.
It shall not end until
well. And not the other one, which is the now his watch has ended, is the Night's Watch card that lets you take an activation token off, right?
First field morale, 100%.
There we go. Sworn Brothers in. The Wardens into the Sworn Brothers. This is what we expected. They can kill the Sworn Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is fully possible, but the problem is they hit on 4s.
And they're weakened.
Oh, and they're weakened as well. Yeah, this is going to be a sad day for these Wardens, I think. Ooh, you definitely made them reroll that. That's a bit better. 2 hits.
So
the Sworn Brothers can't die.
block 1, yeah.
So he's 50-50 chance to have to take a morale test.
Nope.
He does not need to take the morale test. He can.
The good thing is he can start activating this Sworn Brothers unit though.
He can spend the weaken token to make it vulnerable, but no. And he rolls. Is that another Stand United Brothers? It is. So he holds another 3 units back to the other unit of Sworn Brothers. They've just healed each other up. Interestingly, George could have made him re-roll that 1 armor save with the weaken token because they can spend the weaken as the vulnerables.
They can, yeah.
That almost might have been worth it. A 50-50 chance to try and get a morale test out of him.
Yeah. I'd like that weaken token should be gone. I'd like to see the Sworn Brothers start swinging back now because they can do some work to the Baratheons. It means they don't just have to waste their action anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Although then you've always got, because we've only seen one Last Stand, right?
Yep.
No,
Last Stand. Sword in the Darkness come out from Sworn Brothers.
He's replacing. Oh, okay.
So when a friendly unit, so he's going to attack the Wardens now.
And
now that they've got that,
he's not keeping it. So he's not keeping it as a vow. I'm presuming.
He's not got the. He hasn't got swords anyway. So he's weakened. He rerolls those.
2 hits.
this has a problem. These in range of things. So 2 hits on. It's going to be 4s.
Mm-hmm.
And this is probably going to be like. Yeah, it's 1 dead. And then, do you use the vulnerable to get the other one? Probably not. Probably not worth the effort, is it? For 1 wound.
I personally wouldn't, but I mean, when are they going to be attacked by anything else? Who knows?
It's just about keeping the vulnerable on there for other reasons. You
Yeah.
know, it's nice to have the option.
To pass?
Ooh, 6, that's a pass.
Yeah, they're 6 start.
Within the weirwood as well.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Ours of the Fury. So they get to make another attack.
Mhm.
This time without the rerolls, of course. The this melee over here has been a joke, right?
Yeah.
I say that, isn't it? It's been up and down, but like nothing has died. That's not terrible.
3 hits.
3 more hits.
Yeah.
D3 from. I mean, this
3. Come on. Oh.
2. One more armor save. 50-50 chance.
If he rolls a 1, though, he becomes vulnerable or weakened. Ah.
No, but it is still a dead guy, and it does mean a panic chest. Panic chest? Did I just say?
Panic chest, yeah.
Panic chest.
The worst type of chest to have.
Yeah.
Nope. So he's fine.
That's the kind
just...
of the D&D chest that you open and all
Yeah,
your party
yeah.
pulls away.
Yeah.
It's the panic chest.
It's been eaten.
Like a mimic. Wow. So, yeah, that is it's just. This is like the opposite of what you'd expect from most games. Most
know.
games you'd expect people to die.
I tell you what, like if you compare this to any of the games that I've ever played, it's I mean, it's obviously because I like to just throw people headlong into combat and just watch people die, but
Mainly your own forces, right?
yeah, usually, yeah, usually.
Or you spend about 4 turns navigating a unit around its own spawn, which you deployed incorrectly.
Yeah. Hey man, I'm in the Hall of Heroes. I'm a tournament
You
winner.
are.
Don't be. How many tournaments do you win now, Mickey?
Technically, I've won 0 because I threw boards and swords.
Yeah.
Pretty hard. Well, no, my opponent beat me. I didn't throw it.
Did George? I don't think George gets 2 there. Why is George scored 2?
He shouldn't have done.
So this unit is 100% over the line, and even if it wasn't over the line, that would be Brett's choice. Yeah, there's been some pretty big misplays.
Definitely.
All right, interesting. Oh, okay. So where's Courtney going to get put? So Courtney's taking a free attack. Most likely. I mean, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if I saw the Rose Knights take the free attack. So where does Courtney go? This is going to be a big choice. Yeah, so look, the score's just in the bottom right hand side there.
Yeah.
So actually, pretty tough choice for George because there are options. There are plenty of options.
So Brett's just told me there that the wardens have been declared into George's thing for some time now, and that's the way they're playing it.
Right. Okay.
Which is not the way it looks on the board, but
No.
alas, we'll just stick with what the players have
But
decided.
so that's playing with intent, isn't it? So that's what
Yeah.
they've decided.
In the end of the day, like if it's 50-50, which it's not, it's actually over the line in favor of Brett's side of the board. If it's 50-50, it's Brett's choice anyway, so that unit should actually be further back.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what intent is, like
Yeah,
simple fact is
it should be a lot further back. Yeah, should be about another inch further back.
Yeah, give or take. So say it shall not end until my death, and he passes the morale test. It's within short range, and so it comes back with one wound.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Courtney went on the wrong, well, not on the wrong unit, but on a different unit here. So that is going to leave Eamon free to...
Take the bags, heal 3 plus Amon's thing, which is 1
Another
plus.
3, yeah.
So 6 wounds back to that unit, put them up onto 7 wounds.
Which I would be surprised if we didn't see happen now.
I mean, he wants to do that because of the Shields of the Realms of Men anyway, over on the Champions of the Stag flank. So Amon bags would just make more sense.
Take another panic for what? I don't think
he was killed on the attack.
Yeah, so you don't have to take a panic test if your unit doesn't exist.
You do, yeah. So he doesn't die. He stays there in that phase of the attack. He then has to take a panic test because the panic test phase hasn't actually started yet. The melee attack is not over until after the panic test part of the attack.
So you would take another panic test after you come back?
Yes, unless he died from the panic test.
No, I think he died from the attack.
No. Well, he had 4 wounds left, didn't he, because of Stand United last turn?
And lost 4. He died to 4 saves, yeah.
So he probably should have taken a second panic there. After they survived. Like, after he brought them back, if you like. That's the way that interaction works, because the attack isn't over, they just didn't get removed from the attack, kind of thing.
Got you. They could have healed D3 from the morale test as well, though, couldn't they? With John's.
Yeah. No, they come back with 1.
Yep, but it says take a morale test.
Yes, they do the morale.
And Jon Snow's, when this unit passes a morale test, restore D3 wounds.
He's not Jon Snow's unit.
Is it just this unit? Oh, I thought it was a... Oh, is that his attachment, the long range version?
It's one of his cards.
Or is that one of his cards? Yeah.
So we saw Shira taking the letters, and we saw the token come off something. Can't quite see which one came off. Probably the vulnerable on the Rose Knights.
It was the vulnerable on these Rose Knights, yeah, in the middle.
Yeah. And the
placed a weakened on the trackers,
and we see Bowen come onto the crowns.
So we got 2 wounds back onto the wardens as well because of Shira targeting the trackers.
Yep. -1 check. That's a pass.
Yes, indeed.
Brett's just checking that.
I think Brett can get into definitely can get into a side arc here.
Just a big shout out to the guys up in Scotland who've been playing a tournament today.
Yeah, John Craig and the lads from up there.
Yep, they up in Stirling in Scotland. They've just finished the tournament by the looks of it.
Cool.
Actually, me and Carlo couldn't go. We were going to go with Dan from our group, but COVID.
Yeah.
Need to take more.
Bullshit, isn't it?
But they've just finished, and you'll be glad to know that. Let's have a look at the scores. A big shout out to the players. Alan Liddle won first place. Ross Joyce came second. Spoon winner was Tim Dagnall. The best painted army goes to this relatively unheard of painter called Duncan Rhodes. Anyone know of him?
Was he there?
Yeah, Duncan's there, yeah.
Shut up, man.
So Duncan Rhodes won best painted. I don't think I've ever seen anything painted by him. So I'm glad that an unknown name like that has won a painting award.
Yeah.
Seems like an up
he
and
should
coming painter.
He should probably start like a YouTube channel or something.
Maybe show other people how to paint.
Yeah.
I think I'd watch that.
As long as he thins his paints, I don't mind.
Yeah. I don't know. Isn't he like one of the proponents of the new one thick coat now with the new Citadel stuff? Anyway, so yeah, Duncan won best painted. CM Stone for the actual best painted unit. Interestingly, Duncan got beaten. Haha. And Doug Gordon for the best sportsman. So yeah, great to see the tournament. I think he had 8 players attend or 9 players attend maybe in the end.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's great to hear that the tournament went ahead and it went well. Massive shame that we couldn't attend.
So we've just seen the
Ghost
unit wardens. Yeah, the unit wardens attack Ghost. Man, honestly, this hurts my heart. This flank play has been a little bit of a shambles.
Yeah, he's lost. I think I don't want to say Brett's now lost, because I don't think Brett has lost.
Mhm.
But this unit of wardens that was on 1 health that could have just been killed by Ghost. The fact that it's now surviving and it's putting pressure on, it
Is he going to sack Corin here?
just feels bad. He could do. He could sack Corrin, but I mean, how do you win this game now? That's
So,
the thing.
Carlo, Duncan isn't like full heavy metal status though, is he? He was he just did like the tutorials. He is a great painter, but he's not like full heavy metal. I don't know if he's like Golden Demon winner or anything like that. Obviously he's significantly better painter than me by a country mile. But yeah, I mean there's no, he's more of a let's get painting kind of guy. Yeah, totally. So there's definitely like homemade painters out there that are better than him, but whether or not they turned up to a tournament in Scotland today, I don't know. To be honest with you, to me now, like I think I'm almost a bit desensitized to like the really high level of painting, like with the full like non-metallic metal and all the insane blends and people doing like murals on the side of knights and stuff like that. That are now when I just see like an old school heavy metal style thing, uh, like I just think that looks cool. Like base color, wash, highlight, edge highlight. I'm just like, yeah, that looks awesome. Yeah. I mean, he's a fantastic painter. I'm not saying that he's not a fantastic painter. Just he doesn't paint with an airbrush, which makes me feel like a cheat because I paint everything with an airbrush because it's significantly easier.
Terminology you're looking for makes you feel inferior.
Yeah, I sent one of my what?
Ghost dying, and now his watch has ended. Eamon's coming off the money bags.
Why? Just to heal another unit? I don't see how that's going to make a big difference.
But the fact of the matter is, it's not just that it. Oh no, he's not going to do it. He's going to take Moen Marshall for crowns. The big thing here is that it means that it frees up the opportunity
To go into a zone if he needs to.
now. Actually, yes. The problem is that Brett should have played that when Ghost died, when Eldon was still unactivated. So
why did Courtney just teleport from?
right, so Eldon's gone to crowns. So
Sorry, Eldon. Yeah.
Brett played Now His Watch Has Ended when Ghost died.
Mhm.
Okay, Brett took Bowen Marsh off, but he
Mhm.
forgot to do that at the time. They've clearly gone back in time. After that Ghost died, Brett then activated Corrin, put him on the board, and then George activated Eldon and put him on the horses to do a retreat.
Right.
They've taken all of that back. Ghost has now died. Brett has now activated Corrin and put him on the board, and that has left horses and crowns open for
Right.
Eldon now. And so George, instead of taking the horses zone to retreat the champions,
Yeah.
he's instead taking a crown zap,
Yeah.
which they end up passing. And now Bowen Marsh gets to take the horses. Yeah, I mean this was like 2 or 3 activations behind. I don't. These guys know each other. They play very well with each other. They're playing in a way that is fine. You know, it's a friendly game between 2 friends. That's absolutely fine. I've got no problems with how they're playing.
At tournament level, I know we talked about intent and a bit of good sportsmanship, but going back 3 actions is.
Yes. More importantly as well, it's not just going back 3 actions. It's going back and changing like the board state a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like having that unit of wardens. Like from a viewership perspective, we're looking at that unit of wardens being like, that can't be in that back flank.
Mhm.
And yet he's like, oh no, it is. It's like, as a TO, you're trying to. If you were TOing that in a real event, and a discussion came up, it would make it very hard to TO. In fact, almost impossible.
Yeah, I'm still pretty lost at like. So he took the crown zap.
Took panic tests.
He zapped someone, didn't work.
And then he's at the Storm Brothers. It didn't work off.
Yeah.
And so now we're seeing an attack, I believe, from the Champions of the Stag with their actual activation. And he saved all but one. So after all that, he takes 1 wound and then he does his panic chest. And that's another pass. Brett has yet to fail a panic test, I believe. Except the very first one on the Ranger Trackers from a Crown Zap.
Yeah, he lost 4 wounds to that and then didn't lose a single one.
Yep.
So, out of curiosity, people who are from the UK in this chat, where do you guys buy your miniatures from? And do you ever use a company called Zato Games? That's an important question for you.
I sometimes use Zato. Me and Carla use Zato a lot.
Yeah, you do.
Not all the time. In fact, some of our secret stock doesn't come from Zato. And when I say secret stock, I mean stuff like Unsullied. Pre-order. Well, usually it's pre-order stuff. We don't always pre-order from Zato.
Yeah.
But that's just because Zato typically puts them up later. But we typically use Zato for everything.
Yeah. So me and Scott use them for Marvel. We use it. I use it for card sleeves too, and some of the cool stuff. I got some Magic the Gathering stuff from there as well.
Yeah. Francesco from Brazil just said that he uses Zato sometimes as well. Big lad.
So if you're a fan of the channel and you know like subscription £5 a month, not what everyone wants to do. So if you use Zato and you go to the link there, northernrealms.co.uk/Zato, you can actually just basically use Zato as normal but support the channel that way. So we get a very small kickback from that. So
it's like an affiliate link.
Oh yeah, so we're affiliated with Zato, mainly because me and Scott use them so much for Marvel. We've probably kept them in business for the last 6 months, so we'll I'll put the link up as well. But I mean, like I say, it costs you absolutely nothing else, but it does help the channel out a little bit. And everything that I make through the channel goes back into the channel. I've never taken anything as profit before. Not that I've made any substantial amount of money, but I've bought more miniatures for the games that we play to go onto the channel, and I've paid for artwork and things. So yeah,
it's a big lie, mate. There's that time where you spent a small amount of money that you earned from the channel to buy yourself a bacon sandwich, I think.
No,
do you not remember that time?
Genuinely did not. No, genuinely did not. Because I wouldn't know how to explain it to the tax man.
Classic. No, yeah. So I mean, it's useful because it's buying better kit, isn't it? It's buying better kit. We got you got the camera, didn't you?
Yeah. So
and it's part of it paying off for that and things for when we do the live stuff.
Yep. So I went and bought a DSLR camera, which was a significant increase in quality of the stream, like a huge increase. I went and bought lav mics, which were all very expensive. And I'm not in the business of, like if you look at some of the really good streamers or video recorders like Mythicos Studios, and Mythicos Studios and Sunday Slaughter, both of which are amazing channels, and their production quality is like out of this world. These guys are in media for a living. They have some amazing kit, which is a lot better than mine. But still, I went out and upgraded all my kit just to give you guys a better experience. It costs us an absolute shed load of money, so it's just all going back into the channel basically just to make it better for you guys.
I swear the more stuff you buy to make the channel better is the least good you actually become, or least proficient I should say you become with it, because I'm pretty sure you'll get to the stage now where you'll buy something new to have on the channel and you'll be like, how do I turn on my computer?
So I had considered trying to do some like multi-angle camera stuff, and I think Northern Realms.co.uk. It's because I didn't spell it right. www.northern. Yeah.
And I just told the chat and the whole channel that you becoming less proficient with the more things you buy and the more things that happen. Basic spelling.
Yeah, man. I'm responsible for people's literal lives for a living as well. Does that scare you?
Really, because I know for a fact that if I ever get taken to hospital, it probably won't be Newcastle, so I'm fine.
I'm not in Newcastle anyways. I'm Northumbria, so you're definitely not
That's even
coming here.
better, even
Yeah,
further away
you're
from me.
definitely not coming here. Voted excellent twice in a row though, the highest standard of care possible.
Who, just you or the
No,
facility?
the facility, our unit, yeah, top of the notch.
Are you are you the weak link in that facility?
Absolutely not. How dare you say that? It's because I don't have to use computers.
I just personally can't imagine your bedside manner. Like, I know that you're a really nice guy, and I know you're really polite and things like that.
You wouldn't recognise us, Michael. Yeah, you really wouldn't recognise us. Yeah,
It's completely different.
yeah. So more champions. Is this another champion? No, there's just the
This is
Rose
the
Knights. The set.
the Rose Knights.
The
Yeah, sorry.
Central Rose Knights. Yeah.
Oh, another shield that guards the realms of men, which has been an absolute game changer for Brett. Only blocks one this
Unfortunately,
time,
only one. Yeah.
so it's 4 hits.
3+ saves.
Uh, no.
Yeah, against the vets. Yeah. So fails.
Is he against that? Is this against the Sworn Brothers, right?
No, they've already
In
activated.
the corner, the Sworn Brothers in the corner by Corin.
Oh,
The Rose Knights activated to
I
do
thought
the
they
attack.
had already activated. Sorry.
So he
And
takes another
passes
2
another.
wounds.
Yeah.
Another morale.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Just the standard passy pass.
I'm going to quickly look at that affiliate link for Zatu because I don't know if I want to purchase anything, but I just want to see what they've got.
Scott, you wouldn't enjoy it as much as you do. I love all the little quality of life changes that have been like added into. I know they've been in for about 4 or 5 weeks now, maybe a bit more. But like the keywords for the rules for the terrain being on them when you hover over them and stuff. Like I just love that.
You've not seen the other stuff as well, because you've not seen the custom dice, right?
No, I haven't. No.
So just take a second and you'll see that Brett's dice.
Yeah,
See he's
so
rolling
I've seen the TSL ones and I've seen the Blitz Mini ones.
Yeah, guess what?
What?
There's some Song of Ice and Fire stats and some Northern Realms Gaming dice in there as well.
Get the bed.
I know, right? So that's all bartenders work, and I say all bartenders work. I think Yannick actually put the graphics together for bartender, but
yeah, Yannick's some boy with the old graphics, like.
Yep. It's funny because when you talk to him about doing it, he's like, he basically hasn't got a clue. Like he doesn't actually know what he does. He just does it, and it works really well.
So in a bit of a swing there, we've actually seen Brett. Is this going to be a draw? No, it's not, is it? Because something's going to die. It'll go to 10, and then George will win.
Yeah, someone will go to 10 at the end of this round. Interestingly enough, there is one destroyed unit in the shape of Ghost who can now be chosen to be redeployed.
But he comes inactivated.
He does come inactivated, and he's worth 0 points.
And
so
makes absolutely no man. Just bloody attack him.
What?
I just yeah. Never mind.
The money bags is the right play because
Do you reckon?
it activates both shields, the guards, the realms of men. He can heal three up onto the unit Sworn Brothers engage with champions and things.
5.
And then he healed 2 to the unit with the Rose Knights.
Is it not the same unit?
No. Aemon's unit can target a different one. Aemon's ability is different to the zone's ability, so you can target 2 different units with it. But he chooses not to. He chooses to bring
just do them all in one.
Yeah, and he actually chooses Bowen to activate, not Aemon.
Okay.
So Brett's got no cards left, and George has got 3 left in his pile.
So see no counter charges, which we're probably not going to see now.
So probably not going to see any.
Yeah.
I see swords from Eldon, of course. I'm guessing that this is why he left the Aemon off the board, because he can now place something on the board.
So do you think Corin should be
Sacked.
sacked and stopping one of these units of Rose Knights for doing something, or maybe the Baratheon Wardens?
I think you sack Corin to potentially stop the champions of the stag.
Yeah.
Or you can sack Corin to stop the Rose Knights on the flank with the Sworn Brothers.
Big 3.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing 2 dice to save. So
And he saved them both. No wounds.
Yikes.
Auto saves panic.
Mm-hmm.
Brett's won this game purely based on the panic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, he's not going to win. He's going to draw, isn't he? Although if he stays as is now, he'll go to
actually win.
Yeah, he'll go to 12.
He needs. So the problem is he needs to put Aemon on the board. He needs to put Aemon on the tactics on the board because Courtney and Shira are both only worth 3 points. Meaning, and you can only have 1 NCU in each zone. Meaning that basically, I mean, if no units die, which we've got to assume at this point that no units die, that in itself is a big assumption. Okay, but let's work with that. No units die, then it's 9-9. You need to control more zones than anyone else. Brett is currently drawing one zone with his Sworn Brothers Rose Knights matchup, and drawing the other zone. Oh no, he's winning the other zone, right? Or is it a draw? No, he's winning it.
He's winning this one.
Winning it with John for the 3 points.
So
meaning,
make them vulnerable. Yeah. So
actually, did Brett just score 2 points or 1 point? No, he scored 3 points.
He scored 3. Yeah.
How he got the point back from Ghost. So Brett will win if the game just ends now, obviously. The thing is that George has only got 6 points he can put on the board.
So this is weekend. What he wants is some good hits here. That was not good enough. Not even close.
I don't like this play, personally.
So this is what I wanted him to do early, but he's vulnerable. He's vulnerable. He's vulnerable.
Yeah, he rerolls it.
Oh my god!
It's 1 fail.
Yeah, not so it's a 5 plus, isn't it? Yeah.
-2, yeah. So it's 1 fail. He takes the wound and he's going to have to do a panic test. But either way, this unit's not dead.
Panic test at -2. Passes.
So the thing is now is that I don't know. So he can Shira or Courtney into that zone to give him 3 victory points. Oh, sorry, 3 points more in that zone. Pushes it to 8-7 in favour of George.
So this is currently going to be this is currently going to be 2 points to.
So it's currently 1 point to Brett and 1 point to George, just based on that flank alone.
2 and 2. 2 and 1. So Brett would score the one down here with the Ranger trackers in, and
so
the one
diagonal opposites.
Yeah, you would score both of those, and the only one that you would score up here is the one with the Rose Knights and the Wardens in.
Yep. So this actually ends up as a draw currently. And a draw would give the win to Brett. Sorry, to George, because George has more on-field points.
Scott, you're not the graphics boy because you never can do the graphics when I ask you to.
I personally think that this play with the Ranger trackers was risky because they were weakened. Like the Ranger trackers, he should just not have attacked there.
Yeah. You've done them after the game started when we needed the splash screen at the start.
Aemon on 2 horses, and he's going to heal up the 2 to the Sworn Brothers there, and he's going to do a free 6-inch maneuver, which is not going to pull him into close enough to contest one of the other sides. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. It would have been better just to take the crown.
He could have positioned in a better way to do that. Like his last turn's positioning could have meant that he could have just done that.
Well, if you sent us it yesterday, Scott, you should have told us when I asked you for it. Going for a retreat.
Yeah, so he's going to retreat off to that flank there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 7-point unit versus a 7-point unit. That flank is now a draw. Or that
Nope, George is winning this one now.
quadrant. No, it's quadrant to the draw.
No,
Rose Knight's
6.
7, Trackers a 6.
6, yep, Trackers a 6.
I thought there were 7. All right, yeah. So George is winning that flank now. But it does mean that the veterans can get into...
so I was thinking about them potentially pivoting, charging the side of this unit here.
You charge the side of the wardens.
Yeah.
You charge the side of the wardens and get VP that way.
Because between them on the side and the Swarm Brothers, you would hope they would have enough.
You even can align 50% the other side,
Mm-hmm.
and potentially, if you kill them to get the VP, you can even get the free maneuver from the kill into George's final zone.
But then you're giving up the zone to the Champions of the Stag.
True.
So you'd be trading a point for a point, basically. Whereas in this way, you would just guarantee 1 point and deny a point.
More importantly, win a point as well.
Yeah.
So you'd go up. George would get point. Brett would get a point for killing, and a point for the zone. So put him 2 points up. But he has to kill the wardens to do it. And that would put him 2 points up. And interestingly, it doesn't look like Brett's pivoting.
What? What? So I put. Right. So what I was thinking is pivot them, charge them, then make sure your line as far to the right as possible. It means that you're going to prevent any counter charge, or at least reduce the chances of any counter charge from these Rose Knights. Even if you do pull the Rose Knights in, they shouldn't be, although they might be far enough into the zone. Then you might, if you pull the Rose Knights in with a counter charge, you could potentially sausage yourself a bit, couldn't you? And then you're relying on really getting rid of that unit of wardens.
That unit of trackers activating like he did and positioning like he did actually has really fucked Brett up. He's misplayed hugely with the trackers. I'd even go as far as saying he's misplayed hugely with the trackers this entire game.
Mm-hmm.
This unit of flank with Ghost and the trackers should, after pulling them across and like doing some of the, like he did really good maneuvers, he noticed where he could get the win, and then it just didn't pan out that way.
Didn't exploit it.
No. I mean, so he does choose to pivot. He chooses to pivot after that.
Which is the right idea, 100%.
And he can charge that unit of the Wardens in the flank. And I think this is the best opportunity for him. Because he'll go up 2 VPs for that charge. Interestingly enough, he can win the game because he can put Corrin into the quarter with the Ranger trackers. Corrin into that quarter, specifically that quarter, will put him over the top of the Rose Knights. It means that one of Courtney or Shira has to go into that same zone, and that would make it a draw, meaning that neither player wins it. So George would score 1 victory point, and Brett would score 2. So Brett has to run in, kill the Wardens to win.
We're seeing an attack from Swarm Bros, yeah.
I think so.
8 dice. 4s with a Sunderland.
Oh, 4s, yeah, with that. 2 saves. But he's vulnerable, so he's going to make him re-roll a lot,
I
right?
would hope so.
Only 2 more. Oh, so 4 wounds.
But there's 5+ panic.
Panic check.
5+ because of the.
Panic checks have really not been doing much this entire
No,
game.
I haven't.
Yeah,
pass.
so it's another pass.
So this is going to be a pretty big ask.
I don't know. 8 dice, hitting on 2s, the 3s, with a re-roll. That's.
Has he got another swords? He must have another swords, doesn't he?
Swords in the darkness.
Yeah,
he will.
so he can make another vulnerable.
So he rolls a 3. Is he? He retreats.
He's retreating. That's. I don't know why. Yeah.
Because this means he doesn't get the unit doesn't die.
You could still, yeah. I mean, you can still get a charge in.
And actually, this is actually better. In some ways, it's better. He doesn't get the -1, but I think he has to declare this charge.
How far
I actually think he has to declare the charge into the wardens and kill them. So I think unless he runs away with the Swarm Brothers over here.
So we're currently George owns.
George owns currently
3.
his back left, or the back.
Yeah.
I think back left is you're looking at it, and Brett's left.
No, he owns all 3.
No, he doesn't. Not with John's unit. John's unit stops the champions from activating
Yep,
that one.
but the other 3.
And the other one. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does currently own all 3.
And this is going to be a 3-inch charge.
3-inch charge.
Has he got another one of those cards? One of John's cards, though?
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
6. He's in.
Now this is where we want to see his swords.
He was actually touching that unit behind him. Surprise strategy. No, not play tactics cards. All right, okay.
So no swords.
No swords in the darkness. He should have played that before the charge was actually declared. And
yeah, there's some huge misplay. Like, and I know we've talked about friendly gaming as well, but that's the kind of card that makes you decide a whole new action, isn't it? It's not like this is going to be slightly less effective. I mean, it could. The difference between a swords and not a swords. So
he hits with all but 2. Oh, still 6. He needs all of these to fail, ideally. And that's unlikely, isn't it?
Yeah, very unlikely.
Two.
1. The 3+ save.
1.
Yeah.
Which is. Yeah, I mean. 4 wounds as well. He would have killed them if he'd failed 1 more.
There's absolutely no way of getting any extra attacks out of this.
I don't think so.
No.
It means he should actually activate. The problem is he now has to Corrin and
in this zone.
Take the zones. Take the crown zone to kill it.
Why is this unit here not activated, even though it marched?
The unit of wardens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be activated. The unit of wardens did march forward.
It marched. Right. So realistically, the only activations we have left are Rose Knights, Sworn Bros, and then George has a choice of 2 NC. So George is how much is Courtney's free, isn't he? So he's a commander, so he makes no difference. He's got Shira. Is Shira 3?
Shira's 3, and NCU as a commander counts. Courtney counts as 3 for a commander NCU.
Really?
Yep. Commanders count for 3 points. So John's unit is actually an 11-point unit right now, in terms of zone.
Yeah, I just for some reason in my head I only thought it was attachments.
No.
So
NCU
yeah,
got
so he's
+3,
got 6 points worth of NCUs
Yep.
to put down. So he can draw in this
So
corner.
currently George owns all 3, and Brett owns 1. Brett can do a retreat with the Swarm Brothers to retreat into where the champions of the Stag are. But then all that George needs to do is move onto the other zone there, and he would be contesting it as well. So I don't. I mean, his best bet.
Corin in this bottom corner.
No, Corin into that bottom corner wins the zone, so he goes. It's still 2-2, and George wins because he's got more points on the board. Like, you've got to remember, a draw scenario is a loss for Brett.
Yeah.
So Brett has to win, whereas George doesn't.
Just took the draw.
And looks like they've taken the draw by the looks of it. Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. And that is it, guys. That is a draw. A draw for the players there. George winning on points on the table. Should we head over to their game room and
Yeah.
ask some questions?
Let's do it. Hola.
Guys.
Hello. Well, that was interesting.
That was a long, horrible slog that we ended up being a game of chess.
Yeah, a little bit. It all kind of, I don't really know what to say. It all kind of just pivoted on a couple of little key things, I think. I have got a question to ask you, Brett, and I know it's horrible after a game. When the unit of Wardens was on 1 health,
Yep.
and you had Ghost with an opportunity at a flank charge,
Yep.
you were first turn.
Yep.
Why did you opt not to just charge in and kill him, or try to kill him at least?
Because my Sworn Brothers were at critical health, and if I didn't grab the bags, they wouldn't have lived.
Yeah, I think Brett was right there, because if I'd killed that unit of Swarm Brothers, I'd have suddenly slammed the door on the rest of the army.
Yep, that was the problem. If the Sworn Brothers fell, if I didn't grab the shield, they would have fallen. If the Sworn Brothers fell, it wouldn't have mattered that I killed the Wardens, because then we just traded points. So I liked my chance to get them with a combination of the Rangers and Ghost, but it just didn't work out that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree that taking the bags might have been a good option. I personally would have been, my second activation would have been just to Ghost into the flank. While there was still
I've got to say, I think Brett's choice there was the right one, because obviously no one expected those Wardens to survive as long as they did. I don't think neither me or Brett, we kept saying that we didn't expect those Swarm Brothers with the champions to survive as long as they did. They'd been there the whole game. That's from round 1.
Yeah,
and if I killed them, if I'd killed them, they'd have come round the side and started causing all kinds of hassle in the rear of those, which was my plan. So, absolutely think Brett was right to make that choice there.
Fair enough.
I got really lucky on the roll that saved those Wardens as well. Really lucky.
Well, let's talk about lucky rolls. Brett's panic checks this game were phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. After the first, I know you lost I think you lost a horse first activate, or the first round, didn't you, to a panic check?
Yeah.
But after that, I don't think you failed a single one. We marvelled at it. It was pretty intense. But I mean, I suppose Night Watch are renowned for their morale abilities, aren't they?
Yeah, John was saving on a 4. And the Sworn Brothers, I mean, it was a 6. It's above average, but I passed all of them. So,
I mean, you getting to save those Sworn Brothers at the back with what is it? It shall not end until my death was really clutch as well. Having that there, I know you played the first one on Ghost, but then having that one there for them was super, super important.
Did you have It Shall Not End in your hand when we were talking about this fight down in the bottom right hand, well, our bottom right hand side against the Wardens?
Oh yeah, I've had it in my hand since the initial draw.
So
wow.
yeah, so we were both just screaming like, please just attack that unit. Your rangers as well, like you having a 7 dice bow attack hitting on 3s. I mean, I had said that I wouldn't have charged a ghost in because there's always a chance of the last stand. And
I did
Well,
have
he
last
blocked.
stand in hand as well. I
Yeah.
had last stand in hand, but Ghost blocks it. Yeah.
yeah, but it's just yeah.
Well, here's the thing about that though. I've still got a sword in the darkness in hand, so I needed Ghost not to run on that charge because I could have played sword in the darkness and then he was vulnerable, and I like my chances to be dead at that point. But he rolled a 1.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
So it
frustrating,
charges.
wasn't it? Yeah. So you rolled a 1, and then I think did
He blocked both hits.
he blocked both hits as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a disordered charge.
Yeah, I think I needed to get. What did he? They had 3 wounds, but at least I could have made him roll a panic test if I pushed one through, which I was counting on that vulnerable. But
I just want to say though, is like, oh sorry, carry on, Brett. Yeah, carry on, man.
The game wasn't out of reach. The bigger thing was the surprise strategy.
Yeah.
Because I could have I still have swords, so if I could have
So
killed them.
Literally, as he did that charge, I was saying he must have swords because we've only seen one. Make them vulnerable, and George dropped that card, and I just sort of pinched my top of my nose. I was like, oh, that's feels bad.
He did crit fail his panic, which is very unlikely, but John missing, 2 with the rerolls kind of sucked too.
Yeah. I mean, I've got to say, like, I mean, obviously that game was really long, and thank you to everyone who's kind of stuck around with it. And I know it was kind of probably quite frustrating to watch, but me and Brett both, we both feel. I think it's safe to say the same about this particular version of this game mode. Is that it doesn't encourage, it just encourages you to sit and control segments.
Totally, yeah. Totally.
It's just, it doesn't feel as exciting as the last one was. And obviously we both got, you saw it, like both just healing all the time.
Yeah.
Because that's what both these armies do. We've had 1 unit destroyed the entire game, and that was Ghost.
Well, there's only 2 units that I attacked the entire game, and they were both Wardens. I never attacked Rose Knights, and I never attacked the Champions of the Stack.
Yeah, both of those Rose Knights have not lost a single wound. You attacked the Champions in the second round, but they healed back up basically straight away.
Yeah.
That was before I had ours as a Fury in hand as well. So
that's fair.
Did you this is a bit of a meme question, Brett, but on the final round when Ghost was dead, did you think about just deploying him on a flank somewhere random? Just because you could?
Absolutely no impact on the battle.
That's the start of the round, right?
Yeah.
Start of the round. So he died in round 5.
Start of round 6. You could have just put him on. More for a meme than anything else because he doesn't offer anything.
Yeah, no points, is he? So, yeah.
Yeah, I knew that I could do it, but since he comes on activated, I didn't have any way to remove activation tokens, and
not that you want to use anyway.
Putting him out literally did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So I just didn't even do it because he can't contest a quarter. There was just no point in even bothering.
There's probably some weird play where you deploy him on the stakes and then take horses to kill him to then reactivate another unit or something like that. But
I'd spent both watches ended. And,
exactly.
All it would have done was give him a point.
Yeah.
Going into that round, my only hope and a prayer was to kill those Wardens. I guess maybe if I had taken the swords and shot them in the rear twice, that might have been better.
So I noticed I know you prioritise bags very heavily, for quite rightly so as well, because of these you are keeping the units of Stone Brothers alive. But I don't think you took a free attack all game, and just allowed. It just became like a give us with one hand, take us with the other, didn't it? Because you were just sticking 4 to 6 wounds back on to then take another 4 to 6 wounds, and I know that's what you wanted to do because you just wanted a stalemate between the Stag Knight, the champions of the Stag and the Swarm Brothers, but. I genuinely thought that you might have been able to just pull forward a little bit when you had the little 1-2 combo between the Swarm Brothers and the Vets, but yeah, there was a good card play from George that stopped that from happening.
Yeah, in hindsight too, instead of banking on Corrin to contest a zone, I probably should have Corrined those Rose Knights so that they couldn't have retreated.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That may have worked, yeah.
If you had ditched, which are the yes, right.
Yeah. If I had done that, then let's see.
Maybe. Maybe.
I'm not really sure exactly what the board state was. It would have put me down in NCU, and he could have.
If you had a Corrin the unit of Rose Knights that's engaged with the Swarm Brothers, kept them in that zone, and then you could have zipped the horse wasn't free. You could have retreated that unit of Swarm Brothers into the zone that was controlled by the champions of the Stag. You would have been able to control that zone. The Rose Knights would have.
It still would have been 2-2 though. Points for points. So I mean, it would have just left it at 11-11.
But how was it 2-2? Oh, because you didn't count the you didn't put your things on the board, did you?
Yeah.
That's right.
So I mean, I don't know. I think I don't think there was any real way for that round 6 to go much differently.
No, he's kind of pigeonholed.
But yeah, anyway.
Do you think you taking a bit of range threat from your other list would have been any better for you, Brett?
If I had taken ranged threats, I don't know. Like you're saying, had I run
your second list,
my second list,
yeah,
I don't really know, but I don't think so. I don't think the conscripts hold a point as well as the even the Sworn Brothers do. That was the concern. He's got the champions of Stag. I mean, realistically, the only target for the bows to really do much work on is the Wardens. And I think trying to hold down a point like John did with Sworn Brothers is kind of, it's kind of beating your head on the wall. I don't think that would happen. I knew John, I could just throw him up and whatever he threw into it, unless he committed at least 2 or 3 units to it, it would just be a slap fight. And I had planned to tie something up and just not attack them. Ideally, I wanted John fighting the champions of the Stag and tanking them, but I lost that role, so I was out deployed.
Yeah, no problem. Well, it was definitely an interesting watch. I know as far as game modes go, it's not the most thrilling of game modes, but certainly, like you say, George, it almost becomes a bit of a game of chess, doesn't it? It's all down to movement, and dice rolls really didn't come into it that much. I suppose panic tested, but just some clever angling and clever positioning towards the end of the game to try and score points. I think being able to rein the sword in and just pass with so many activations to keep stuff alive was really good as well. Cool. Well, all right then. Thank you very much, lads.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Pleasure to watch. Pleasure to stream. And George, best of luck in your next round. Who is? I don't know. It can't be I don't think it can be a Stark player. So there's a positive, right? All right then. Thanks a lot for letting us stream, guys, and we will catch you. Well, Brett will definitely catch you later on, and George will catch you later in the tournament.
Awesome. Well done, guys.
Yep.
So, suppose I'll just do one last thing quickly. I know everyone's sick of hearing it, but I'll just quickly show you the merch store that I was talking about before. And that will be it. So this is our merch store. So it's northernrealms.co.uk/store. We've got a range of most of the factions. We've got Night's Watch, Greyjoys, Stark. Well, I know it's Ghost, but I'm still considering it as Stark. Baratheons for both flavours, and Lannisters, and then Gamma Wave TV's one of the side projects that we do for Marvel Crisis Protocol. But they're nice and cheap. The cheapest I can possibly make them without making it not worth doing. Awesome designs by local artists, and just another way to support the channel. So if you want to, you can purchase those over on Teespring. It's northernrealms.co.uk/store. If you use Zatu, or if you live in the UK and you want to buy things from Zatu, nice and cheap, good pre-orders, northernrealms.co.uk/Zatu, and you will be able to help the channel out that way. And you can always check us out on YouTube. You'll see all of the VODs that we do and the live games that we play at youtube.com/Northern Realms. Thank you very, very much for everyone that's came and watched. It's been great to be back in streaming again. And we'll see you soon. I think we've got a game tomorrow, which we'll update on the Facebook so everyone can see. And we'll see you then.